The best phrase in all of sports. Super Bowl week. Super Bowl week. Man, where greatness is made. Where legacies are stamped. I mean, validation, vindication, so many great storylines. By the way, next 4 hours, we are powered by our great friends at BetUS. Please hit the like button. First 15 minutes of the program is the most important, so we appreciate all your likes. By the way, I want to give you guys a lot of love. I briefly mentioned this last week. Thank you, Xander, for this. The average person that watches this show every day is over an hour. Makes it one of the most watched shows in all of Philly and all of sports when we're on this type of platform here. And when we're talking football, NFL football, college football, sports in general. Hey, by the way, last 2 months, we've done well over 1 million views. I mean, bro, you guys are growing JAKIB like nobody else's business. And everybody thought when all that turnover we had a year ago was going to be our Death Star, we're actually a fucking shooting comet now. And it's all because of you guys. Thank you guys very much. Hey, no matter what the dissenters say about us, it's not happening. We got companies wanting to do all kinds of things with all the shows, especially my show here. We're trying to monetize it. All because of what you guys do. How's that for you? All the things that people thought weren't going to happen. I got to thank you guys. Thank you very much. This is the People's Show. I'm very proud of you guys, and I'm very proud of everybody that's working around it. The Krauses, Xander, Big Joe, you, dude, absolutely fantastic. Fantastic. And now I know why assholes like LJ are here. You probably can't have a show like this in Canada. How you doing? How you doing? Hit that damn like button. We appreciate you guys so much. Thank you again. 7 days. 7 days until the Super Bowl. We have some stories that we're going to hit on here before we get to the topics. Okay? Yeah, Justin Trudeau just shut down LJ's internet. How you doing? Yeah. Hey, all good, man. Hit the like button. Thank you, guys. All right. Howie Roseman. Here is what we have heard. Here is what we have heard about Myles Garrett. Myles Garrett has requested a trade. Andrew Berry, the general manager, former executive with the Eagles, is fielding phone calls on what the market value would be for Myles Garrett, who's going to Canton. Now, remember, just because the initial offering price is out there, that doesn't necessarily mean it lands there. Okay? What we're hearing is if the Eagles and the Browns were to make a deal, it would be for A.J. Brown and a fourth. Would you do it? Can you imagine Myles Garrett and Jalen Carter? Could you imagine those two guys on the same D line? And if Zach Bond is able to continue to do what he does, and then you've got Jordan Davis next to him, and you've got on the other end, you've got Nolan Smith, Myles Garrett, Jordan Davis, and Jalen Carter. It'd be the most formidable front seven in the league. Now, again, there's going to be about 15 teams that are going to be in the market for him if the Browns do move off of him. Okay, that's not necessarily something that's going to be an easy putt for the Browns, and I'll tell you why. There's a 75% or $79 million price tag that's still out there that is owed to him. The Eagles would obviously have to restructure that contract for that thing to work. There's $79 million still owed to the guy. Okay? It's a lot of money, man. He's 29 years old. He's still awful productive, and I think he could be awful productive for the next 3 years. You got to determine one thing. You've got to determine this. If you win the Super Bowl on Sunday, and your wide receivers are not going to be instrumental in the way that you're going to go about winning games any longer, it's not going to be an air raid attack like you so think it's going to be. Why would you change from winning a Super Bowl in the formula that made you Super Bowl champions because you want to throw the ball? Why would you go against the thing that got you and made you the most successful? You got to fundamentally think how you're going to move forward with your offensive approach. Oh, in the offseason, we're going to rip it up. And we're going to go back to throwing the ball. Why? When you were delivered a Super Bowl. Carter and Garrett together would be unbelievable. It would be. Be the best front seven in the NFL. And I'm not sure that's close. Okay? Now, again, here's the thing you got to always remember about Howie. Howie explores every deal. That doesn't mean every deal makes it happen, and he can make it happen. I would make this point to you about Myles Garrett. Here's where I wouldn't want to see Myles Garrett on the other end of Joey Bosa in San Francisco, or with the Rams on the other side of Jared Verse. That's something I wouldn't want to see. Or in Detroit on the other side of Aiden Hutchinson. Garrett's 29. I wouldn't want to see those situations because that can change the room a little bit on you. Okay? I mean, Aiden Hutchinson and Myles Garrett are going to be both of your pass rushers on your edge. That's a lot. And remember something, the Commanders can make it happen too. Why? Because the Commanders have a shitload of cap space. So you've got to look at every scenario here. Could the Cowboys put him on the other side of Micah Parsons? Remember, when it comes to something like Myles Garrett, you've got to always start with the money because there's $79 million that is still owed to him. Now, because of the new collective bargaining agreement, they get to restructure that contract and defer money out. Personally, I think the top landing spot would be Washington. He gets out of the AFC, and he goes to a team that's got a shitload of money. The Washington Commanders have a shitload of money and 10 draft picks that they could make that happen. They've got the money and the space to make that happen. That would kind of up the page a little bit for Washington in the NFC East. Continuing to add great players. Washington getting another wide receiver on the other side of Terry McLaurin. And you add Myles Garrett. They did win 12-13 ball games last year. And you add people like that, Washington's going to continue to get better. He's going to go somewhere. By the way, he's going to land somewhere. And I would think if you're Cleveland, you would prefer it being in the NFC and not in the AFC. Remember that. Okay? Guy's a great football player. Let's not forget something here. Howie's got a shitload of work to do in the offseason. I'll make this point to you, too. Howie Roseman, I should say Howard Roseman, is so full of shit, sometimes his eyes turn brown. Did you see that dumb shit that he said at the Super Bowl already? I'm not shocked. I knew at the beginning that Saquon Barkley was going to have the season he was going to have this year. Then why the fuck did you offer DeAndre Swift the first contract if you knew that? What a liar. Here we go. It's Super Bowl week. People will try to change their narrative all they want. That's a fucking lie. He did not think that that was going to be the type of season he was going to have. That was his second choice. He offered a 2-year contract to DeAndre Swift before Swift took the $9 million or $8.5 million in Chicago. That's a total bullshit lie. And he's in there going, I knew he'd have this kind of year. Okay, Howie. Did you know that Bryce Huff would have this type of year too? I'm sure you thought that too, right? In light of the 14-5 he gave him. Nobody knows what someone's going to do, dude. The reason get this, the next thing will be is that Howie believed that Nolan Smith would have the year that he started having in the second half of the season. That's why you traded for Huff then, or signed Huff then, I mean. Give me a break, guy. Jesus, criminy. Some of these guys like Bill Polian wanting to, we had a first grade on Tom Brady. Bill Polian, one of the grandest lies of all, nobody had a first round grade on Tom Brady at the combines. Nobody did. Cleveland is getting ready to build a new dome stadium. They're gearing up for 29. Well, they better figure out that quarterback first. Remember something. That's why they want to trade Garrett. They want to trade Garrett because they need a quarterback. And I'm going to say it one more time to you. I don't think there's any quarterback coming out in this draft that's worthy of a first-round pick. Me, not happening. I'd wait for Arch Manning next year. Collect all the first-rounders I can possibly collect. Listen, I love Cam Ward down at Miami. I don't think he's a first-rounder. I look at Shedeur Sanders. I don't see it. I'm not signing those guys and making those guys the faces of my franchise. I just don't see it. So, would you trade for Myles Garrett? If Garrett is willing to, remember what, who was the kid? Guys, help me out here. By the way, please hit the like button. Who was the kid that Howie traded for? The DB from Tennessee. They restructured his contract when they brought him in. They redid it so that if they moved off him, it was only going to be like $400,000 or $500,000 in the offseason if they had to move off him. And he restructured it. Kevin Baird. That's it. If you remember right, they restructured the contract. Okay, they restructured it, and they were able to, if they were going to move off of him, they were going to not take a gigantic cap hit, which was like $400,000. All right. Hit the like button. Appreciate you guys so much. Thank you again. The first 15 minutes are important. Would I make the move for Myles Garrett? I would if the price is right. Okay? Right? Get this. Yeah, I'm sure Howie will say that he predicted that Zach Bond was going to be an all-pro inside linebacker when they projected him to be an edge rusher. Sure. I like how Howie bullshits people, and people in Philly go, yeah, I can't believe it. He knew that Barkley would have this kind of year. And you're like, dude, no, he didn't. No, he didn't. Yeah, that's why you started passing right out of the gate. And then you went into the bye week and you changed it around. Come on, man. That's what you're going to get all during Super Bowl week. You're going to get you're going to get like a whole bunch of horse shit being thrown at you. Okay? Guys, I appreciate it. Absolutely great stuff here, man. Hey, so yeah, I mean, would you make the deal for would you make the deal for Myles Garrett? Would I give A.J. Brown up for Myles Garrett? Could you imagine what Vic could do with Myles Garrett? Could you imagine I think it's got a lot to do with who wins the Super Bowl. If the Eagles win the Super Bowl running the ball like this, I would trade AJ for Myles Garrett. Myles Garrett's going to Canton. AJ's not. Now, if AJ wins the Super Bowl, continues to put great numbers up, maybe. But the wide receiver position has got a logjam of great players that still have to be considered. By far not a first ballot, and especially in the passing game of today. There's hundreds of guys who will have better careers. Dude, DeAndre Hopkins has a better career. Antonio Brown has a better career than A.J. Brown. Are you under the notion that you think that A.J. Brown's had a better career than Antonio Brown? That's not true. Okay, that's not true. But Myles Garrett's going to Canton, probably a first ballot. I mean, what's the point of having A.J. Brown when you're winning Super Bowls running the ball? Let's see what happens Sunday. Another bit of news. Xander and I were talking about this. There's a report going around the building, and I'm talking at the NovaCare Center, that if Jeff Stoutland wins the Super Bowl, he's going to retire. He's 62, 63 years old. Not everybody's going to do this until they're 80 or until they die and not treat it like a Supreme Court appointee. I mean, there's conversation that he may retire at the end if they win the Super Bowl. That would be a massive blow if you lose Kellen Moore and if you lose the offensive line coach. Right now, wide receivers are oversaturated. It's similar to the overinflation of the quarterback contracts. Well, think about it. All the major wide receivers that you like in the game today, 90% of them have been traded once or twice. Think about it. All the big-time wideouts. Jefferson has not been traded, but Stephon Diggs, A.J. Brown, Devontae Adams, Tyreek Hill. Hill's looking for his third team. All these big-time wide receivers all get dealt. Cooper Kupp's going to be traded this offseason. I mean, these wide receivers, supposedly, like I bring the point up to you in Kansas City. If that guy was so important in Kansas City's Super Bowl run, why'd they get rid of him? Okay? Why'd they get rid of him? I mean, it's about running the football and stopping the run, and that hasn't changed since 1920. Okay, so do I believe Stoutland would call it a career? Man, I mean, he's 62 years old. I think he could do it for a couple more years. Maybe what he'll do is he'll go out when Lane goes out. But just some scuttlebutt. Now, again, you're going to get a lot of news coming out of the Super Bowl. And you're going to hear all kinds of storylines. Do I believe it? Kind of, but not, I don't know. I find that hard to believe if that ends up chasing down being true. I could see him contemplating it. He talked about it 2 years ago. All right. Hit the like button. We appreciate you guys so much. All right. We're going to do this here on a Monday. And we're going to look at both sides of the football here. This is how we're going to do this. Big Sil's reasons that the Eagles beat the Chiefs on Sunday in Super Bowl 59. Hit the like button. Thank you very much, Harv. Is it possible that receivers will face a similar situation to what running backs faced over the last 15 years? You know why, Harv, that's not going to happen? Prop bets and gambling. Prop bets and gambling. No way. If scoring is up, receiver salaries are going to continue to escalate. Okay? They're going to continue to escalate. So those salaries are going to continue to go up. when it comes to corners, pass rushers, wideouts, and quarterbacks. That number will continue to rise. Okay? I wrote down some reasons for the Eagles to beat the Chiefs. I wrote 10 of them down. Then I'm going to go the reasons the Chiefs beat the Eagles. Hit the like button. Appreciate you guys. All right. I got 10 of these things I wrote down here. Hit the like button. By the way, guys, I appreciate you coming aboard here. Super Bowl 59 week. Man. Exciting. Can you imagine being the NBA right now? Holy shit. Who's watching that nightmare? Luka got traded. Who cares? Imagine that. Luka got traded, and it's a page 2 story. You know why? Because LeBron James destroyed the NBA. During his time, ratings have plummeted. He didn't bring any new viewers. He turned the NBA into a political arm of the Democratic Party. He endorses slave labor to make his shoes. He made the Lakers in the NBA draft his shitty, talented son. I mean, I don't know. Then they made the NBA trade Luka to the Lakers. You want to know why people don't watch that thing? It's rigged. Nobody, who would watch that thing? Michael Jordan will always be the GOAT. You know why? Michael Jordan was must-watch television. Ratings were over the top when he was in the sport. And you know why? Michael Jordan made sure of this. He wasn't political on both sides of the ball. You know what he just wanted to do? Play ball. And that's why people watch the NBA with his greatness. LeBron destroyed the NBA. Nobody's watching it. When Jordan left, it was all-time ratings. And the NFL has taken advantage of it. The NFL ran the NBA off of Christmas Day. You see what they did to the Grammys last night? The Grammys had to air it in the bye week. In the bye week. Because no one would have watched it. NFL is king. This is why I love talking about football. It's the number one sport in America for a reason. Over 100 million people will watch this thing on Sunday. Take a look. Like I said, the NBA. Hey, by the way, if Luka could be traded, Embiid can be traded. You want to hear something crazy about Embiid? He's missed 43% of his career in Philly. How do you build a championship around something like that? Hey, Josh, what's the process to that shit? And you're going to build that guy an arena. Okay, good luck. Good luck. Joel Embiid has missed 43% of his career. Oh, another thing LeBron did, made load management a fashionable thing. You imagine NFL guys don't take weekends off. It's 10 times more physical. I'm done with that. I wasted 7 minutes of my life I'll never get back talking NBA. Here are the reasons. The Big Sills reasons the Eagles beat the Chiefs, and then I'm going to go the Big Sills reasons the Chiefs beat the Eagles. Hit the like button. Give me a total, guys. All supers go to the top like Harv. Here's number one. You got to get Barkley going early. The key to the Super Bowl is going to be both running games. Get Barkley going. Let's find out how tough Kansas City is in stopping the run. Run that zone run right at him. Point to it. I'm running right here. I don't believe Kansas City can stop that. I want to see that. Only chance we got winning is if Patty gets hit by a bus on the way to the arena. He can't. Or he breaks both his arms. So 0 chance. Brian, you're too much, man. That's good shit right there, Brian. Good pumper, man. Oh, yeah, vagina. Fucking crazy. All right. Let me go here, man. Hey, pumper. That's too good, man. Hit the like button. Yeah. Oh, my God. Got to get Barkley going. Dude, you're nuts, too. I agree with Flex and Pumper, man. Look at that thing. Yeah. I'm going to leave that up there and let that hang there if I may. Thank you, Pump. Got to get Barkley going. Let's see if Kansas City can stop the run. Number 2. I said this last week, and I'll now make it part of the game plan. I'd put Zach Bond on Travis Kelce and make those wide receivers beat me. Make those wide receivers in Kansas City beat me. Hollywood Brown, Xavier Worthy. Okay? Make those guys beat me. Don't let Kelce beat me. That guy ESP actually had Dallas Goedert ahead of Travis Kelce in advantages in the fucking game. I must have missed it, but as good as Goddard is, Kelce's one of the greatest Super Bowl receivers in history. It's so dumb. Hey, and by the way, I heard Xander say something. I was flipping through and I heard Xander say this to John. I don't see the advantages that Kansas City has. Well, I would make this point to you. I don't think their advantages are that much better than Kansas City's. Chris Jones is superior to Jalen Carter, but is that a big reach? No. It's probably, if you're going on a scale of 1 to 10, Chris is a 10, Carter's a 9. Okay? You really think Nolan Smith is that much better than Carl Aptis, the kid, the defensive? I don't. That's probably 1, 2. You can go either way. McDuffie or Slay, probably 1 or 2, 9, 10. The quarterback's the only massive gap. The running game is a massive gap. The O-line, they got the best center in football. Do you know that guy, Tooney? If he wins, he's got his 5th Super Bowl. Pretty crazy. Only Brady and Charles Haley will have 5 or more Super Bowls. And he'll be one of them. Okay? I mean, the coaching is superior. But again, I think the coaches in Philly have done a great job this year. That's like 8, 10 on a scale of 1 to 10. You're going against generational coaches and a quarterback. You're good everywhere. Like Xander said, you're good everywhere, but you're going against the greatest, maybe of all time. Okay, I mean, advantages? Coaching matters in the NFL. Recruiting matters in college. Number 2, like I said, I put Zach Bond on Travis Kelce. I don't want him beating me. I don't want him moving the sticks at all. I don't want to get him going. Let Hollywood Brown and them other guys beat me. Let me see if they can. I love how everybody goes, Mahomes is not the same as he was 4 years ago. Are you fucking high? He's smarter now. Mahomes is 2 years older than Hurts. If anybody's not the same, it's Hurts with all his talent. Well, Mahomes is not the same. Mahomes is not the same because he doesn't have the same talent around him, but he still wins. Hurts couldn't have the same talent around him because he wouldn't win. Not taking Hollywood Brown and fucking Juju Smith-Schuster to a Super Bowl. That, again, that's for everyone in the league. That's not just an Eagle thing. Dude, that's like saying you put a guy like LeBron James on any one of the other basketball teams. Would he make him a contender in his prime? Yeah. Like Mahomes could go to Chicago and make them a contender in the NFC. Number 3. Eagles are going to have to play 60 minutes of football. Don't play 55 minutes because they'll beat you. You've got to play 60 minutes of football against this team. If you're going to beat the champs, I would bracket Kelsey and double team him and man on the other receivers. I guess. Just tell me what the sports media will say when Mahomes loses. Tell me what the excuses are going to be. Have to complain about, I can't wait. Richard, Brady lost Super Bowls. He's 7-3 in them. What would you say about him if he lost the Super Bowl? I would say nothing. It has no bearing on his legacy. Tom Brady lost 3 Super Bowls to Nick Foles and Eli fucking Manning. I mean, what do you say about a substitute teacher beating Tom Brady in a Super Bowl? Nothing. Because he's got 7 of them. I mean, you think it diminishes the guy who's been to 5 Super Bowls? I don't. So you look down on Elway for being 2-3 in Super Bowls? I don't. I mean, I'm not sure what you're saying here. Excuses? He got beat by a better team. So let it play out on Sunday. Mahomes is playing for great. I'll show you something here. Here. Let me write this down. Here, I wrote this down. I'll get back to my 10 reasons why the Eagles and what they have to do to beat the Chiefs. This is, as the Chiefs go for a three-peat, they're 60 minutes away from this. The Dolphins are 72-74, went back-to-back. Packers 66-68. Steelers 75-76, 79-80. They had 2 teams. The Niners 89-1990 team. The Cowboys 93-94 team. The Broncos 98-99. The Patriots 04 and 05. And now Kansas City. There's only been 9 teams in NFL history that have a shot at three-peating. And his legacy will be hurt if he loses. How fucking dumb. Just dumb. This game does more for Hurts than Mahomes. This guy's playing against Brady's legacy, not Hurts's. Hurts has nothing to do with Patrick Mahomes. The only thing he has anything to do with Mahomes is who he's playing on Sunday. He's another guy to have to beat to get into the conversation talking about Brady and him. Jalen Hurts has got nothing to do with Mahomes. Not yet. Jalen Hurts, Patrick Mahomes. Really? Let's stay on par here. Guys, do me a favor. Please hit the like button here. Number 4. If the Eagles, again, are going to beat the Chiefs, these are my reasons. Here's number 4. Hurts, he's going to have to spread the ball around more than his top 2 receivers to beat Kansas City. You can't be that predictable with Spagnuolo. Just can't be AJ and Devontae and sometimes Goddard. He's got to spread the ball around. I'm not talking about going to Jahan Dotson. I'm talking about those three dudes have to be involved in this pass game. If you're going to go to the pass game, get everyone involved. The less you go to Goddard, the more predictable you become to a guy with 4 Super Bowls. You know, what's crazy about how John McMullen sees some people, John McMullen doesn't believe that Sean McVay is that good a coach because he lost to Belichick. I mean, he's got 4 division titles and 2 conference championships and a Super Bowl in 8 years. And John doesn't think that's a good resume. And here with Spagnuolo's got 4 Super Bowl rings already on 2 different teams. And he beat the GOAT too. How's that not a good resume? Dude, if winning matters for Nick, it's got to matter for those 2 guys too, doesn't it? I mean, how could someone look at Nick and go, well, Nick wins a lot, and those guys got the hardware. Dude, but then again, John's the same guy that says, I'll take 4 Super Bowl appearances over a Super Bowl ring. And I'm like, I'm not really going to debate that. I mean, I'll take 4 second-place finishes over 1 first-place finish? I don't know. Okay, I guess. I like John a lot, but not me, man. I don't get that one. The Eagles, if they're going to beat the Chiefs. Number 5. I'm going to put Cooper DeJean and C.J. Gardner-Johnson on Xavier Worthy. I cannot have explosion plays. That's a Death Star. Keep that guy on him. Okay? Keep that guy on him. Hey, Xander, can we send a link to Gary Cobb at 4:30? Thank you, brother. Appreciate it. Gary Cobb will be with us at 4:30. Angelo's a little sick, so he'll be on Thursday. Keith Byers will be on tomorrow, and we're going to talk Super Bowl with Keith Byers. You can't let Xavier Worthy run around in that secondary and have that guy blow the top off. You can't. Number 6. I think the Eagles are going to have to gamble a little against Kansas City to beat them. Someone asked me what that is. I go, I don't know. We'll know in game. I don't know what that means. Philly wasn't something that they game planned for. It was something they did on the spur of the moment. Gambling in a football game, you can't predetermine what you're going to gamble. The moment will come. And there'll be a decision, probably 5 of them in this game, that Andy will have to make and Nick will have to make to win the game. There'll be 5 critical decisions Sunday that will determine the outcome of the ball game. Okay? Remember something. Doug gambled to beat Belichick and Brady. I think you're going to have a moment in there. I'm not talking crazy shit. Because I don't think you have to go crazy and do crazy shit. I think you have to gamble, though, and do something to beat that team. You know why? Remember something. The Philadelphia Eagles, as much as Xander was talking today about they have all the advantages, one more time, I'll tell you, you guys win a lot of games. They win championships. You don't know how to win championships. They do. You think there's a premium on that? Well, we got the talent. Well, they have the titles. What team would you rather have? Let's use common sense here. Well, we got more talent everywhere. They got more titles than you everywhere. Okay? By the way, I'm not talking about psycho gambling. Okay? I'm not. There'll be a moment in there in that game where they'll gamble like Doug did. I don't know what that is yet. Going for it on a 4th down on their side of the 50. Big punt. Not going for a field goal. Instead, trying to get the 1st down to keep Kansas City off the field. One more time, I'll go back to what I said last week. I do not believe you're stopping Kansas City on offense. You know why? I haven't seen anybody but Tom Brady in Super Bowls do it. But I do believe this. I don't believe Kansas City can stop the Eagles' offense the way they run the ball. You're going to have to prove that to me too. Those are 2 factors in that game I want to see. I want to see the Philadelphia Eagle defense stop Mahomes, which you haven't. And I want to see somebody stop the Eagles' offensive line and their run game, which no one has. Okay? By the way, everything I'm saying are facts. You win games, they win titles. Am I wrong? What's wrong about that comment? You've got more talent. They have more titles. Go win it. Number 7, for the Eagles to beat the Chiefs, don't let Mahomes extend plays with his legs. Last 2 ball games in the Super Bowl, that is what has won it for Kansas City. Don't let that guy extend series with his legs. You have got to keep that guy contained. You can't let him extend those series like that. Is our team built like the Bucs were versus the Chiefs in the Super Bowl? I think you're better this time right now and tougher than you were in 22. I think you are a physical team. I think they're a finesse team. And I traditionally don't like finesse teams. My man Keith Byers is from Dayton, Ohio, where I'm from. His camp was the first football camp I've been to. He's the reason I'm an Eagle fan. He was Jerome Brown's best friend, too. Just so you know, Anthony. That's why Keith and I have been friends all these years. Be on tomorrow at 5:30 Eastern. I love Keith. Ohio State Buckeye, all that, man. I mean, him and Keith Jackson are dear friends of mine. I played against Keith in college. I've known Keith Jackson for over 40 years. I've known Keith Byers for over 40 years. Mahomes has to be spied every play. You have to contain his running. And Kelsey, like you said, make someone else beat you. Yeah, to score. Anthony, here's, like I said, don't let Kelsey beat you. Make Juju Smith-Schuster or Hollywood Brown beat you. If they beat you, Mahomes had some sort of psycho game. But I'm not going to let Kelsey loose. That's not going to happen. I can't do that. Number 8. Now, this is going to sound like a slap in the face at Philly, and it's not. Okay? Eagles, don't panic. And I'm not really talking to players. I'm talking about the coaching staff. Don't panic. You're going to be either up or down in this game. Don't panic. That team you're playing against has seen it all, has been in it all. Do you know what the difference is between this Super Bowl and Super Bowls of the past? What's the difference? You're going against the dynasty. You're not just going against a football team that is there every 10 years, 20 years, 25 years. You're going against a team that has been there now 5 times in 7 years. I mean, don't panic. Thanks, Sills, for getting him on. Met him at age 8. That's awesome. Keith's a great dude, man. I have great respect for Keith Byers. Keith Byers, can you imagine, Anthony, if Keith Byers was in today's NFL? He'd be Alvin Kamara. Byers gaining 800 yards and another 700 yards receiving. How much money do you think that fucker would make today in the NFL? He'd make about $17 million a year, Keith Byers. Keith Byers and Randall Cunningham were ahead of their time. Those two dudes played in today's game. I look at Patrick Mahomes and I see Randall Cunningham. Okay, I see Randall. Number 9. These are the 10 ways I think Philadelphia has to construct their game plan to beat Kansas City. If I'm Vic, you're not just going to bring blitzes against Patrick Mahomes. You're just not going to. You've got to bring blitzes and situational blitzes. And you've got to play high-stake poker with this guy. Sills, you missed my super chat. Richard, we'll get to that. Sills, I get it, but he's a crybaby. The minute he gets touched, he starts crying to the refs. I mean, I'm not dismissing his career. You're right. He does moan. He's a little bit of a flopper. He got called on it, too. I forget who called him on it. I think Aikman called him on it. I hate that shit, too, man. I'll tell you what, though. I would do the same shit he does. If the refs are going to go down that route and they're going to call the game like that, hey, I'm going to tell you this, guys. You want a tight game called. Because if they call a tight football game, that favors Philly. Because then the refs can't make them gratuitous pass interference calls. If they let these guys play and they call the game tight, Philly, that's not going to be a problem. If they call it loose, that favors KC. That favors KC. Playing for this year's chip, right? They can't cash in pasted titles for first downs. You want our pass rushing middle linebacker to cover the best tight end ever and the slower safeties to cover the fastest wide receiver in the league. Once again, dude, what I want you to do is your best player on their best player. It's best on best. Travis Kelce can hurt you. Who else in that offense is going to fucking hurt you, guy? My best ball player is going to shut down their best ball player, might win Zach Ball the MVP award. If he shuts him down and gets a pick and takes it back to the house, he might win the MVP doing that. Xavier Worthy broke the combine record for the 40. There ain't a guy on the Eagles or Kansas City that could run in a race with him. He's the fastest guy in the league. What are you talking about? You think Myles Garrett will be an Eagle? I don't know that right now. I know 15 teams will make. Okay, I know 15 teams will make a play for him. And by the way, I love how people go, yeah, well, I'll give him Jahan Dotson and fucking Ojimo or the backup DTs and a pick. You're like, that ain't cutting it, guy. When you go and trade your Ferrari in, what are you expecting? I love Eagle fans. The Eagle fans are expecting the Browns to trade a Ferrari in and get a what? An F-150 out of it? Are you fucking nuts? They're going to expect a Ferrari out of it. Hey, let me trade you my F-150. Not a bad truck. But they're trading a Ferrari. Yeah, I'll take your Ferrari for my F-150. It's about 10 years old, but here, there it is. Stupid. Vic's got to pick situational moments to blitz. Number 10, get Hurts going in the run game. get him going in the run game, and have him in up-tempo when you want to start throwing the ball. I think the one thing he showed me this year, when he went up-tempo, he was much better when they were able to keep the personnel of the defensive people on the sidelines, and they went up-tempo. I thought he was better when they did that. Get him going in the run game. Dude, if you get Barkley and him going in the run game, I want to see Kansas City stop that. I want to see him stop that. I mean, I don't know. So here's the 10. Get Barkley going. This is for the Eagles to beat. Then we're going to do Chiefs to beat the Eagles. Get Barkley going. I want Zach Bond and Travis Kelce. Eagles have to play 60 minutes of football against this Chiefs team if you want to beat them. Hurts has to spread the ball around. Can't just be two dudes. I'm putting DeJean or C.J. Gardner on Xavier Worthy. I can't have explosion plays in this game. I think the Eagles have to gamble a little. And again, I don't know what that is yet. We'll know when we see it in the game, that moment. Do not let Mahomes extend plays with his legs. Keep containment. Trade Huff and Puff to the Browns. They can use them. For who? Myles Garrett? You couldn't get Myles Garrett's son right now, and he's 10, for Rice and Puff. Eagles stay calm. I'm talking to coaches. Pick your time when to blitz, Mahomes. He's too good at picking blitzes up. And get Hurts going in the run game. In up-tempo. That's how I think you beat Kansas City. Now, the Big Sills reasons the Chiefs beat the Eagles. Number one, Mahomes. I mean, I don't really have to say anything else. Mahomes. Number two, Chiefs and Chris Jones. Imperative that they stop the run. Imperative that they stop the run. And I don't believe it. Kansas City's run game with Kareem Hunt and Pacheco have to get going. Have to. I mean, it's crazy here, but very simple formula. Stop the run, run the ball. And personally, I think the Eagles are more set up to do that. Number four, I think Travis Kelce has to have an enormous game. Okay? Anthony Lear, Sills, if you want Sirianni, come. You have to tie him to the bench. Funny. Number four, as I said, Travis Kelce has to have a massive game. 9 catches over 100 yards. That's trouble for Philly. Number 5, on why the Chiefs beat the Eagles. Andy Reid's situational play calling. He's the best play calling head coach in pro football, and maybe ever. I mean, maybe ever. Number 6, Xavier Worthy has to make plays, at least 3 of them, of plus 25 for the Chiefs to beat the Eagles. Number 7, for the Chiefs to beat the Eagles. All supers go to the top. By the way, guys, please hit the like button. Give me a total here where we are. Xander's going to join us at the bottom of the hour. Want to see 167 likes? Not bad. Please hit that like button. Xander's going to join us at the bottom. Gary Cobb is joining us at 4:30. Angelo's going to join us, I believe, Thursday. He's a little under the weather. Keith Byers will join us tomorrow at 5:30 Eastern. So everyone's getting to New Orleans right now. We appreciate everybody. Please hit the like button. Number 7. Spags has to keep the Eagle offense off balance. And what I mean by that is you can't let Philly's offense get into a rhythm. This is going to also be on the side of Kellen Moore. If they come out and they start establishing the passing game and they don't get completions and they get 3 and outs, it favors KC big time. Okay? That puts Spags on the offense. Can't get 3 and outs. Dude, you're not getting this. You're being good enough is not good enough to beat Kansas City. I heard Xander and everyone in Philly, not just him, we're better. No, you're not. You haven't proven that yet. You think you're better. They have a track record of being better. You don't. Well, we won a lot of regular season games. So what? This is the Super Bowl. They are professional Super Bowl winners. They make a religion, a habit of winning that game. You don't. Don't act like you do. Yours is a theory. They've put their theory to practice. All you have is theory. They win. End of the. Well, it doesn't look this. It doesn't matter. You told me it didn't matter all year long. Get this. Here's the difference between Jalen Hurts and Patrick Mahomes. Mahomes didn't look like Patrick Mahomes this year, and here he is back in the Super Bowl going for his 3rd in a row. That lies the difference. Hey, end of the day, what I'm talking is facts. You know why? The resume speaks to it. When you put your resume down until you prove this Sunday, those are all jobs you've never had. You don't have a dynasty. You haven't been to Super Bowls consecutively. You don't have a quarterback who carried your football team to the Super Bowl like this kid. You don't have a generational coach. You don't have a generational quarterback. They do. Beat them. Am I sitting here saying you can't? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. That's why they play the fucking game. Go do it. Go do it. All you're talking about is you believe on paper you're better. You have nothing to prove that. Against a team like KC, what do you have to prove that? How have you proven that? Josh Allen said after the L, to be the champs, you have to beat the champs. Same rule applies to the Eagles. Like I said, this is all about validation here for Philly. All the things that they have done, all the winning they have done, if they stamp it, beating Reed and Mahomes, all your winning becomes a talking point to how you got to your championship when you're standing on the podium, hoisting the Lombardi trophy. This has been our journey. Everyone talks about their journey to the mountaintop. You don't just get helicoptered up and dropped off. You fucking climb to the top. This is your climb. Embrace it. Look at Kenneth. Eagles beat Kansas City in a fucking meaningless game last year. Congratulations. You've got 2 consolation prizes, and they've got the Lombardi trophy at your expense. Okay. And you sound like people that say, I'd rather have 4 Super Bowl losses than 1 win. Number 9, Trent McDuffie. He has to have a great game against AJ. That entire secondary has to have a great game. Because let me tell you, they get that run game going, and all of a sudden that slant opens. That'd be a tough one for Kansas City to stop. Okay? Number 10. Mahomes can't run for 60 or more yards in this ball game. Hey, you were just reminded me of something, Flexen. Why don't you act like Kobe? Job's not finished. Doesn't seem you're happy. Job's not finished. You're up 2-0. Job's not finished. Why don't you act like a champion? Job's not finished. That's what made that guy the Mamba. Fuck that. Job ain't finished. Thank you, Philly 007. I appreciate you, brother. Dude, walk into this game with Mamba mentality. Absolutely. I agree, Keith. And you are the bullies to do it. Go in there and act like it. I'm not taking shit from anybody. If I were the Eagles and I had that kind of physicality, I would walk in there with so much shit talking going on right now, you would not believe it, because I don't believe you could beat me in a fight. But it's Kansas City. I mean, you're like a heavyweight puncher like Tyson. They're like Ali. You're going against the greatest. You're actually more like Frazier. Joe was one of the top 5 great heavyweights of all time. But you're going against guys like Brady and Mahomes who are Ali. Was Ali ever beaten by Frazier? Yeah. Frazier beat him. Dude, Brian Dawkins goes, a team that's won 3 Super Bowls and been to 5 of them thinks they're on the same level as the Eagles. That's so fucking dumb. Where in the world do you think you are? They make it to Super Bowls and win them. You don't. Not yet. Dude, there's nothing wrong with people doing this. Prove it. I thought that was the mantra of your city. Isn't it? Prove it. Oh, and by the way, Sills, Kansas City's going to have to prove they can beat us. I don't mind that mentality because I don't believe they're tougher than you. Kyle, I love being the underdog. When I know deep down in my heart, when I punch you in the face, we're going to level that out. I'll show you underdog. I think that makes me hungrier, being the underdog. I can't wait for this heavyweight fight. You got one of the greatest fighters of all time in the ring on Sunday. And you're going to go in there and prove it like Frazier when you beat him in Ali 1. You knocked him on his ass in the 15th round, 14th round, I think it was. You knocked Ali on his ass. You know how many times Ali was knocked on his backside? Cooper, Frazier, I'm talking in his prime. I think 3 times. He was never cut. He was never cut. But he was beat. Norton beat him. Frazier beat him. Those guys beat him in his prime. You're no Buster Douglas. Absolutely not. This ain't Buster Douglas getting into the ring versus Tyson. You're Frazier. You belong in that ring. Douglas didn't. He was a 40-1. You ain't 40-1, dog. You belong in this game. I'm not suggesting you don't. You belong in this game. Okay? Anthony, an older, that's right, beat a 39-year-old Ali. I'm talking guy when he was around 32, 26 to 32. Hey, Furman, if I've made you think you can't walk in there and beat this team Sunday, you're mistaken. And you belong in this ring with them. You're like Joe and Frazier Ali 1. I'm going to knock you on your ass. That's what Frazier told him. And he did. And he beat him. He beat Ali in his prime. Nobody. They were both undefeated. Let's just trade for Myles Garrett and throw him in. Man, him and Carter, that'd be fucking a freak show if you land that thing. Somehow, I think that guy, Howie Roseman, can make it happen. I don't know. So there are here are my 10. For the Chiefs to beat the Eagles, Mahomes, Chiefs, and Chris Jones have to stop the run. Here, I'll tell you on February 3rd. I don't know. Really? Show me you can do it. He's the best tackle in the game. I can see people in Philly going, Sills, you don't think Carter's better? Not yet. And we're talking this. 10, 9. He's a 9 on a scale of 1 to 10, and he's a 10. I don't know. You all right with that? And he's younger. Relax. KC has to get their run game going with Kareem Hunt and Pacheco, or it's over. By the way, I like how people will go like this. I don't see them being able to do this. Well, then you're in denial. They have gone against better teams the last 2 Super Bowls and did it. We're better now. Prove it. You're a theory until you prove it. Your words until you prove it. Kansas City proves it every year. Travis Kelce cannot have a huge game. Andy Reid's situational play calling is some of the best since Bill Walsh. Andy Reid versus Vic. Who you got? What do you got? If you guys think you're such a dynamic at every position, do you have faith? Our rookies on defense? Yeah. Because I don't really see it. Stop Kelsey, Hollywood Brown, and Juju Smith-Schuster stopping Mahomes. Look at these people. So you're going to take Vic, who's never won a Super Bowl in his entire career, over a guy who has 10 conference championships and 3 Super Bowls. Really? Okay. You can't have Xavier Worthy making big plays. Andy Reid is 8-0 versus Vic Fangio, and so is Mahomes. Keeping score. Spags has to keep the Eagle offense off balance. Do I think that's a possibility? Not if that run game's going. You're going to have to prove that one to me. Trent McDuffie and that secondary, they have to play great. I mean, they have to play great. And Mahomes, in my opinion, cannot have 60-plus yards rushing. Okay? Cannot. So, those are my 10 ways both teams have to go into this. Again, I think the storyline is going to come down the young defense versus the experienced Patrick Mahomes. And can Kansas City really stop the Philadelphia Eagles' run offense? I'm not sure. I'm not. Big Sills, I see you on Broad Street next Thursday. Look, I'm going to say this to you always, Sonny. You're going into this fight on Sunday. I think you're the bully. I think Kansas City. I don't think they're as physical, but I don't think Andy Reid has ever really been a physical guy, except maybe in Philly. But that's how they build that team. Dude, Kareem Hunt's been pretty good. But do I think they can run the ball like that? Look, your run defense has been what, top 10? Top 10, top 5. Who gives a shit? They're one of the top run defenses. Okay? I want to see Kansas City run that ball. Do I think they can? A little bit. A little bit. Do I think they're going to go for 150, 60 yards? No. If they do, let me tell you something. If Kansas City gets 160 yards rushing on you, game's over. Kansas City wins it. Because that means play action's open, and that means you're off balance. You've got to stop Kelsey, cover him, and make them one-dimensional. Don't let them get going in the run game, which means containing Mahomes, setting the edges. Let me tell you how important it's going to be for Josh Sweat and Nolan Smith. Not necessarily to get to him, but to keep him in the pocket. He won that Super Bowl last year because he broke containment. With how this team is built and how close 22 was, does a win signify the start of an Eagle dynasty? Also, does it elevate Hurts above the elite quarterbacks who haven't won? You win a Super Bowl, and then you put the other fact that you were close in that Super Bowl and you lost by 3. You're not in that Joe Flacco room. You start to get in that Aikman room. Now, it's only one Super Bowl, but it's 2 appearances and 2 conference titles. That's got to mean something. And it does to me. And you've done that in 3 years. I don't know. I guess. And you've been to the playoffs every year. Absolutely. Look, no one's going to draft him to build a Super Bowl team around him. I mean, no one's going to draft him and ask him to lead you to a Super Bowl. But put in the right environment like Aikman, he's the perfect guy. Aikman was the perfect fit in Dallas. He won 3 Super Bowls doing it. No one is ever going to put Troy Aikman in the top 5 quarterbacks of all time. But when you look at his championships, there's only been Bradshaw, Montana, Brady, and Mahomes that have won more than 3. He'd be one of 5 Super Bowls in the Super Bowl, 5 quarterbacks in the Super Bowl era if he can win multiple Super Bowls. It's got to matter. Would that put Hurts in the top 10 quarterback? No, it would not. He doesn't do top 10 things. That quarterback does not do top 10 things. Now, when it comes to what they're asking him to do, he fits just like Aikman. Aikman ain't no way a top 5 quarterback, says Flexen. He's got 3 rings. He's got 3 rings. Nobody would ever take Troy Aikman over Dan Marino. But he's got 3 rings. We did something pretty cool here, too. I ranked my top 40, like you see or you hear on the radio, top 40. I got my top 40 Eagles and Chiefs. And I ranked them on who they're going to face and the players. And I ranked the top 40 Eagles and Chiefs. We're going to do that here in a second. Do you like Ken Stabler? I could see Hurts' career mirroring him or Russell Wilson. More Wilson because he moves more like him. Ken didn't really use his wheels all that much unless you're talking to sea of hands against the Dolphins. He moved around a bit, but isn't it funny? The greatest quarterbacks in Alabama history were not in Saban's era. They were in Barrett Bryant's era. Richard Todd, Ken Stabler, and Namath. I mean, you can say whatever you want about Nick. You got 2 Hall of Fame quarterbacks out of Alabama during the Bear Bryant era. I'm still waiting to see a guy who's a superstar ball player in the Nick Saban era that played quarterback. And let's not forget, he fired Hurts in Alabama. Yeah, well, Chip, Saban fired him. You get credit for it for firing him? That'd be like Ryan Day and Urban Meyer taking credit for Joe Burrow after they fired him for Justin Fields. Really? Give him credit for that? I mean, oh, yeah. Hey, well, after the fact. Hit the like button. Guys, do me a favor. Please give me a total on where we are in the likes. Supers all go to the top like Always Sunny. How do you like Chip Kelly on the Raiders? Chip Kelly probably has learned an awful lot on his failures. Okay? On his failures. And that coordinating in the NFL is way different. By the way, did I not tell you that Chip Kelly, once he won the national championship, was going to get an elevated job? It only took a week for that to come true. And now he's the OC of the Raiders. Don't be shocked. If that guy does a great job, whatever quarterback gets in there, it becomes the head coach of the Raiders. There he goes, Chip still ain't shit. Well, that's not how the world is working for him. He's still getting opportunities to coach. High-level jobs. How does a guy who ain't worth a shit get the UCLA job after being fired twice Then he gets the OC job and he quits the UCLA job and wins a national championship in Columbus. Then he's the OC with the Raiders. Hey, what you said's not facts. That's not facts. Would I hire him? No way. I think his bedside manner blows. I'm with you. I don't think he's shit either. But they hire him. Okay, I mean, they hire his ass. I'd hire John Gruden before I'd hire Chip Kelly. Okay? By the way, somebody bringing up Oregon. You could put anybody in Oregon and they're going to win. Why? Nil. Oh, Nike backs them? Great, I'm in. Okay. There's no coincidence why the best college football program on the West Coast is in at Oregon and in Eugene. Why? Nike. That's the corporate headquarters. And Phil Knight, while he's alive, is like T. Boone Pickens. He's going to keep funneling money into that program. There's an endowment that has his name on it that after he dies, they're still going to get $350 million out of his wealth every year from the money that Nike makes. Every other college football program and college basketball program that's in America today that uses the Jordan brand or Nike pays for Oregon football. Did you know that? Did you know that? It's in an endowment. That's right. Plus your chances of getting an endorsement from Nike because you played at Oregon. Come on, man. Chip Kelly at Oregon. Name me a coach that sucked there. Guys, do me a favor. Please hit the like button. Sills, I don't get to listen every day because of my job. I listen to you every day on my way home from work. You and JAKIB are the best sports listener around. Thank you for all the hard work. Go Birds. Hutch, absolutely sensational. And I thank you. Hutch, it's just me and you sitting around a bar having a beer. Okay? That's all we do here, dog. You know? We're not trying to reinvent the wheel here. Xander would tell you, I got a different approach. You know, maybe sometimes you feel like this when Big Sills is talking to you. Ooh, that's a little rough. Ooh. Oh, my God. We'll do that top 40 here in a second here. We'll do that. Actually, I'm going to throw those ways to beat the Chiefs for the Eagles and also Chiefs beating the Eagles. We'll do that with Xander here in a minute. Don't forget, Gary Cobb will join us at 4:30. Guys, do me a favor. Please hit that like button. We appreciate you guys. So Lane Johnson will be back in 2025. Why not? Why not? He's playing all pro football right now. Okay? Why not? He's the second best right tackle in the game. And by the way, if you want to flip a coin and go, that guy over there takes Penei Sewell and I get Lane, I'm cool with that. Or you want Lane and I'll take Penei? Sure. That's the difference. That's the difference. The only difference is that one guy's 25 and the other guy's 35. Okay? That's the only difference. Is that he's continuing to have great success in his 30s, mid-30s. Chip Kelly is a good X's and O's coach. He just doesn't know how to connect with players, and hopefully he's gotten better with time. Same with Brian Flores up in Minnesota. Yeah, his bedside manner's awful. You know, his bedside manner was awful. One more time, and I know you guys don't like to hear this. Chip was not wrong in getting rid of Shady and Deshaun Jackson. You won a Super Bowl 2 years later. They were not wrong doing that. I mean, they didn't need him. Doug won it 2 years later without them. However, how the whole exits all happened and what they did with Buffalo, all that was awful. All of that was awful. I just said it. Always Sunny. Kiko Pershady is brutal. It's a slap in the face. It's the way. No doubt, both those guys were wronged. And by the way, the guy covering your football team, ESP had a lot to do with Deshaun Jackson being exited out of there. I personally think Chip Kelly and ESP conspired with that story in some way or some form or fashion to get Deshaun Jackson out of Philadelphia. I do. Because they used that story to get Deshaun Jackson out of Philly. Did they not? I mean, right? I mean, Chip's bedside manner sucks. Hit the like button. Appreciate you guys. By the way, all supers go to the top. Appreciate it. I'll do my rankings after I talk to Xander because I got Gary Cobb at 4:32, and as I said, Keith Byers is tomorrow. We're working on Keith Jackson, and also some other surprises this week as everybody gets settled getting down to New Orleans. I believe this is New Orleans' 11th time that they've hosted a Super Bowl, tying Miami for the most Super Bowls being hosted by a city. I think it's 11 with them, and Miami has 11. A lot of history on Sunday. No doubt. Great storylines going in on a Monday here. Hit that like button. Without further ado, this is one of my favorite. Hey, I've been to probably 15 Super Bowls. My wife, I threw 20 out. My wife goes, I think it's like 15 to 18, somewhere in there I've been to. And I rarely stayed for the game. Okay? I rarely stayed for the game. Because the Super Bowl week was just like a convention back in the day. Big Sills is good. I'm glad John McMullen is going to be covering it for us. But for me, Big Sills don't need to be seen. Everyone knows where the fuck I am. You know where that is? Right here on JAKIB. Some of you watched the bitch for over an hour. How you doing? That's right, man. And it's Super Bowl week. I can't wait for this bad puppy, man. Yeah, hey. Yeah, I got to love Howie, man. I heard John say this the other day. Here's Howie down in New Orleans now. He's strutting his little feathers. You know how one of those little peacocks gets those feathers going like this? Yeah, I knew Barkley would have over 2,000 yards, and I knew he'd have a year. So why the fuck did you offer DeAndre Swift a contract first? I knew we were going to have him. I knew. Quack, 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 quack. Here's Howie quacking away down there, man. Unbelievable, man. Just go win the ball game on Sunday. All right. Gary Cobb at 4:30. With all that, our friend, Xander Krause, co-host of Birds 365, joins us now. And, man, I can imagine right now he's all jacked up, hat all backwards. These guys all ready to rock and roll. Boxing gloves are ready to go on Sunday. This bitch is ready to get in that ring and start fighting. Heavyweight championship is on Sunday in New Orleans at Superdome. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing good, man. You're not doing your job this week. I'll tell you what. You're not doing your job, and I'll tell you why.
Tell me.
I feel too damn good about this Super Bowl. I feel like we are just going to be too much for them. I think we're going to be too much for them, and I thought you were going to make me feel worse about that, and you didn't. You didn't really make me feel worse about that.
Your conversation is all theory. You haven't proven shit. They do. They win
Well,
Super
no, I
Bowls.
mean, I get you're right in the sense that we haven't won anything, but I think it's not theory in the way that you look at the way this team has won 17 football games. We
How
are
many did they
physical.
win? I missed it. How many games they win this year? I missed it.
They won a lot too. I'm talking about styles. I'm talking about styles of play.
Okay.
Look
I
at him.
mean,
He's so upset. I
no,
told him
no,
about
no, no, no,
that.
no. What you're talking about is still theory. They win Super Bowls. They're in
No,
the
we had
business of
2,000 rushing
they're in
yards
the
this year. There's
business.
nothing about that. That's theory.
They're in the business of winning Super Bowls. You're not.
Not yet.
Okay, that's theory.
Yeah, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about we are more physical football team than they are.
Okay.
Do you agree with that?
Yeah. I thought you were 22. I thought
No,
San
we weren't.
Francisco was. I thought San Francisco was after they knocked the doorknobs off you last year and then won the NFC title going in.
We
I
weren't
thought,
physical in 22 like we are in 24. You know that.
okay. Well, the way they beat up San Francisco in that NFC title game, I did think you were. You beat them 31-7.
Yeah, that's fair. We had a physical D line, but offensively we weren't that team. We had Myles Sanders, guy had 7 carries for 16 yards.
Like I said, go do it. I know what they have done. Okay, I know who they are.
Boy, I tell you what,
No, I'm not saying anything that's not true.
I'm not either.
No, yours is theory though. They win ball games.
No.
They win Super Bowls.
Wait. There's nothing theory about running for 2,000 rushing yards. Nothing.
What has that gotten you?
We haven't had a chance to go to the Super Bowl.
Okay, theory.
No,
Oh,
rushing yards is not theory.
okay, go in it. I know what they do.
You're saying
in the
us out
business.
physicaling
They
them is
are
theory.
in the
That's correct.
business of winning Super Bowls. You're not.
Yeah, but
I
you
mean,
could say that about any team in the NFC.
no, you can't. Not with a team that's been there 5 times now and won 3 of them. No, you can't.
I said NFC. Any team that went in the NFC from the playoffs this year could say the same thing.
Sure.
That's the whole thing.
Okay.
You're knocking off the Chiefs.
Okay.
All right, what's your point?
My point is they're in the business of winning Super Bowls.
Yo, no shit. So is everybody.
Business of winning games in theory. You haven't accomplished anything yet. What have you accomplished?
Oh, we're NFC champions. I just heard you glaze Sean
Okay.
McVay about it.
They're going for 3 in a row, and that football team is fighting legacy here. That's what that team has done. By the way, am I saying you can't? No way. I'm not saying you
Who do you
can't
think has
do
more
it.
pressure?
Oh, I think KC does.
Oh, really?
Here's why. You're not just – see, the Eagles have Kansas City in their fucking bullseye right now. They've got them like they're sitting there on the range, and here's Kansas City looking around going, people are telling us that we're fighting this. There's so many more things out there. Here's the Eagles. They got that scope on that guy right in the middle of his forehead, and the only thing they see right now is Patrick Mahomes' forehead. The Kansas City Chiefs got all this other shit going around them. You got this shit right here. However, the only thing I'll say about KC, they've been in the environment for so long, they know how to win.
Yeah, they have the advantage in terms of Super Bowl experience. I mean, and look, I'm not disagreeing with you in the sense that, yeah, in order to be the man, you got to beat the man. We haven't beaten them in this moment yet. There's no doubt about that. But with the way this team is set up this year, I believe our physical nature is going to be too much for them in this football game. I don't think they're built the way that we are to be able to sustain it. You know, how many points do you think the Chiefs are going to get in this game? They've only had 30 one time this year.
26, 25, somewhere.
So would you agree then it's going to come down to that Chiefs defense getting stops on the Eagles, because the Kansas City's probably going to score their 24, 27, 30 points right there. I don't think they're going to get much more than that. They haven't done it. They've only done it once this year where they scored 30.
Yeah, I get it. How many outside of the NFC title game? How many times you guys go over 30?
Well, I do think there's an element of recency bias with the Eagles offense because they put up 55 in the NFC Championship game. So I will acknowledge that. A lot of people are like, oh, we're going to trounce them. I mean, we've only put up 55 in one freaking game. We've only had over 50 in one game, only had over 40 in one game. So
still impressive.
It's impressive, but it's not.
But during the regular season,
trend. It's
how
not the
many
trend.
times did you score 30 points? I don't even know that.
Not many. I know we did in week 1. I know we did versus the Bengals. I know we did versus the Cowboys, which I mean, what do you take from that? They sucked. I'm pretty sure we did versus the Giants. Actually, no, we didn't even versus the Giants. We beat them 28-3 or something, 28-7.
Okay, so we're both looking at maybe 28, 26, something like there, this game.
That's low scoring. You think it's going to be that low scoring?
I don't know. I mean, both teams don't put a lot of points up.
No, they don't. Both teams don't put a lot of points up. The Eagles' offense has clicked better. They clicked obviously good in the NFC Championship game, maybe the best they have all year, but I'm not sure that that's going to continue. They put up 33 versus the Commanders. They put up 37 versus the Rams, probably one of their better offensive performances. 34 versus the Cowboys, 37 versus the Bengals, 33. No, we lost to the Bucks.
You think they put up 35 like they did in 23?
No, I think it's going to be a lower scoring game than 22 or the 23. Yeah, I think
38, 35.
That was what the final was. Yeah, Chiefs had the field goal at the end with Harrison Butker, who's going to be a big impact in this game. By the way, we got to make field goals. I mean, you can't miss field goals in this game, especially if you're talking about 24, 27 points on the board. Yeah. You better make those field goals, Jake. I think he will, though. I think he will. Yeah, no doubt. I mean, one of the things I think is going to be an impact, which is in every game, is are the Eagles' defense going to be able to punch the ball out like they have or create a turnover? It's one thing to create a turnover on the Commanders. It's a whole nother beast to create a turnover on the Kansas City Chiefs. Remember, they weren't the greatest team in the world in 22 either. We didn't create a turnover. Jalen fumbled once, which was kind of a fluke fumble. If you go back and watch, he just drops the ball, which he doesn't do often. And you didn't get any other opportunities that the Chiefs gave you in that football game. So this is a different cat in terms of that. So if we can create a turnover, then I think you really tip the scales in your favor. But you could say that's theory too.
Before we go into some of these comments here, I wrote down my theory on how the Eagles will beat the Chiefs and how the Chiefs will beat the Eagles. Before we do that, what are you taking away from potentially conversation? Nothing set in stone yet. That Myles Garrett has requested a trade, and that he has said numerous times that one of the teams he would enjoy playing for would be the Philadelphia Eagles. I tell you, here's my nightmare. If you get Myles Garrett on the Commanders, who have $100 million in cap space, and you put him on that team, and now he's a divisional foe you see twice.
They have a good D-line too.
Okay. Or how about this? You put him on the other side of Micah Parsons. Or you put him in San Francisco on the other side of Nick Bosa. I mean, then you're starting to kind of change the scales a little bit, and you're adding a phenomenal player here to this. I mean,
Commanders are the only one you just said that scares me, and because of the quarterback. Dallas, I don't believe in that much. Nope. And the Niners had a sick D-line already. I mean, I'm not saying Myles wouldn't improve it, but don't you think they've kind of had that D-line
where
they
have cap issues,
terrorize you? Yeah, and they don't have the quarterback.
And they got to pay Purdy. And they got to pay Purdy this offseason.
Right, they got to pay Purdy. We'll see what they do there. But boy, Myles Garrett in Philly, holy shit!
Here's the issue. He's got $79 million that's still owed to him, which means that he would have to restructure his contract if he was going to do that. And then you got to think of the assets on what you'd be willing to give him. I love everybody in Philly and how they like to trade. You know what they want, Xander? They want to trade their F-150 for a Ferrari.
Yeah, you can't do that.
And that's not going to happen like that. For a guy like that, they're going to want something big. AJ,
I don't necessarily. I heard what you proposed. I don't really think. He's
not Brian Burns.
Yeah, no, he's the best player in the. I mean, you can make an argument he's the best football player on planet Earth. I mean, come on, but I don't really think that they would be super interested in AJ Brown like that. I'm not saying he's not a great trade piece, but I don't know if they're looking for a receiver like that. They don't even have a quarterback.
If they win a Super Bowl with this style of play, How valuable does AJ remain on that football team when they know that they can win the Super Bowl running it the way they were running it? Not saying he's not important in the run game, and
How
also
much does he help the run?
You know, I mean,
how much does he help the run? Do you think?
A lot, because you still have to. Hey, when I see Dotson, I look over and I do this.
Yeah.
When I look over at AJ and I go like this, hey man, we got to have a body on that guy. I cannot not have that guy have a body.
Yeah. Well, listen. There's a lot of good points being made right now that I'm seeing in the chat. I appreciate everybody checking in. With Myles Garrett, I would do whatever it takes when it comes to draft capital. I don't give a shit about my draft capital. You have a team right now. Listen, Howie's been really good at drafting. We've added some major impact players, but you're talking about a 3-year period here in Philadelphia where you could legitimately be the favorite in the NFC every single year. Absolutely. If you're telling me I'd rather have a pick at 31 overall than having Myles Garrett, I think I personally don't agree with that. I'd rather get rid of 2 first-round picks, go and get 30. And $30 million. Yeah, you're going to have to pay that.
No. At 30, you're right. The next 2 years, do you think you're going to get an impact player at pick 30? Let's just say
we got no one.
32. Do you think you're going to get a great pick down there over Myles Garrett? I don't
either. I mean, you got no one, but part of the projection is I'm not going to say you wouldn't get a player that would have a good career, but I'm not worried about that right now. I'm worried about the next 3 years. I want to make our team great for 3-year period because you can capitalize on an opportunity where everybody's young. And by the way, a lot of people take the cap stuff into it, and I get it, but I don't know. Maybe Howie Roseman has given me a weird confidence level with the cap, but the cap's about to blow up another $30 million. He's about to restructure Jalen Hurts and a bunch of other guys to create another 20, 30. I don't worry about the cap at all when it comes to the Eagles. I mean, look at our roster today. We have the most stacked roster in the league, and the cap was no. We still have cap space. I get it. It's you have to factor it in. But Howie and Jeffrey have clearly proven that they know how to manipulate it enough. If they want a player bad enough, they're going to make it work. But the question there would be the draft capital. For me, it's a no-brainer. By the way, he is the favorite right now. The Eagles are the favorite. You understand this in the betting market. Yeah, they're tied with the Bills in the favorite in the betting market. And the other thing that's interesting is, who Myles Garrett agent is?
Tell me.
It's Nicole Lynn, Clutch Sports, Jalen Hurts' agent. So maybe there's some moves being made right there in the back end where
I'll give you some insight here. The New England Patriots have already reached out to try to see if they can work a deal. Lonzo Highsmith has already told me they're doing everything they can to move him out of the AFC and into the NFC. And he's a senior vice president of player personnel. So they're telling me he's working with Elliott Wolf in New England. So I was told today that they want to do everything first and foremost to get him out of the AFC, which means I think it's Philly or Washington.
I think Washington is. I didn't think about Washington
because
you had him. Look, we just beat the brakes off them. There's no doubt about it. But they had a rookie quarterback. Daron Payne was out in that game. You get Daron Payne, Jonathan Allen, and Myles Garrett on that D line. That's as good as saying Jalen Carter and Myles Garrett.
Absolutely,
or comparable. I mean, that's a nasty defensive line. Plus all the other cap space they have. Plus they're probably going to go and get another receiver. I mean, they were throwing the ball to Olamide Zaccheaus way too much.
I wouldn't be shocked if T. Higgins lands there.
Yeah, you see, Commanders are going to be an interesting team. Now the other thing that's interesting is most teams in the NFC right now are probably constructing their team to deal with the Eagles because the Eagles have been to the Super Bowl 2 of the last 3 years. So they've emerged probably as the premier team.
Xander, that's always a fundamental flaw in how people look. First and foremost, you recruit and draft and trade for the teams in your division, first and foremost, to win your division. Then you go NFC. I'm not saying you're completely wrong.
Yeah, no, you're right.
But my number one objective is to beat Washington, Dallas, and New York first. Why do you think Marshawn Lattimore was traded? He was traded to stop AJ. He wasn't traded to stop Deebo Samuel. He was traded to stop AJ.
Right.
So you make moves for your divisional opponents first. And
now,
then you're not wrong. You're not wrong on who do you see on the outlier, Detroit, San Francisco. I think San Francisco is going to take a couple steps backwards even more this year. I think the Rams are going to take some steps forward, and I think Washington he's going to take steps forward. Why? Because of space and draft equity. Remember, Washington has 10 picks and $100 million in cap space. Bro, they're going to get way better than what they were this last year. Adam Peters is a good-looking GM, man.
There are. Yeah, he's really good. No, they're good. Look, I love the Garrett trade to Philly. I love the idea. I actually think it's tangible. Now, you hear a lot of big names that come out, and every Philly fan is like, "Oh, I'm kind of about Philly." Not all of them are tangible. I actually think that the Myles Garrett one is tangible because, another report came out during your show. I'm not sure if you saw it, but it's actually about winning for Myles Garrett right now. This isn't to try and get another contract.
I saw his letter.
He wants to win. And like, you can see that this guy's paid. He's made $125 million in his career. Like, I'm not counting the man's pockets. I'm sure he wants to keep getting paid, but this isn't about that. He wants to go to a team where he can win football games and have a chance to go all the way. Now, the Commanders are definitely a team that do that too, but I think this is a viable trade, and I think Howie has the equity, the capital, and the cap space to do it. The question will be, will Howie pull the trigger? Because you know how GMs get. They don't like giving up those picks, man. They don't like giving them up. That's why Les Snead, it was such a big thing when he did it, and he's like, F them picks. Howie doesn't love giving up those picks, and it's tough to blame him. He's had really good first couple
of picks.
But
he has for AJ. And for players like that, he'll give the equity up for guys. He gave a first round up for him, and it's been worth every first round.
Now, remember, that was the year we had 2, though.
Right. Yes, that's right. But he did give a 1-up for him.
Yes, he did. 18th overall.
And that to me shows me that he'll do it, and he has the ingenuity to do it. Okay, that's the thing, and he has the owner to do it too. And if Nicole Lynn, who is Jalen Hurts' agent, will also do this restructuring of the contract, giving Garrett more of that money up front, but lowering the base, they can make that thing work. Xander, the key to everything in life is getting the yes. People all their life strive to get to know. The ones that are really the great ones get to yes.
Right.
Figure it out. Get the yes. And that's the one thing he does is get the yes. And that's why he's built a great roster.
Boy, if we got him. CZ, there's CZ in the chat. Yo, CZ, you won a jersey today on Birds 365, brother. Thank you for your support, man. Good to see you in here. You got to reach out to me, all right, CZ? But no, you're right, Sills. You're right. I do think Howie. Do you think you like, I mean, this would make the Eagles pretty scary. You agree with that, right?
It would make them, with that O-line and D-line, unbeatable.
I mean, you would terrorize the league, man. They would terrorize the league. What
are you going to block? Jalen Carter, Zach Bond, or Myles Garrett?
We got to get Zach Bond done, though. I really want Zach Bond done. I think we're going to get Zach Bond done. I got a little bit of inside information I can share with everybody that I feel pretty good about them going to get Zach Bond done. Just an off-the-record conversation that Howie had with some of the beat reporters. So I feel like Zach Bond's going to get done, but you can never say 100% because at the end of the day, what was also said was if somebody comes in and breaks the bank and Zach Bond, wants to go for it, we're not going to be able to match that I'm talking 18 million. I think at 12, 14, they're going to go there, but you get somebody comes in and pays them 3 years and $60 million. I don't think Zach Bond.
What if Washington parachutes in and gives them 60 over 3?
You think it'd be Washington? Don't they have?
Again, follow whoever has the most money. Anybody, Chicago, anybody who has the most, Jags, anybody who has the most money. Always look and start there first because do I think if Kellen gets the job in New Orleans, dude, New Orleans ain't going anywhere. They still got $50 million to cut off that cap. They're not fucking going anywhere.
Right.
They've still got a clean house. And with that story that the AP put out, Kellen Moore's price tag just went up double.
Yeah. Yeah, you're talking about Schefter was talking about that today, I think on McAfee. You're talking about a 3x salary increase for Kellen.
Oh, yeah. Hey, you really want me to go into that cesspool where you're $50 million in the hole and you've got a community issue with your football team with the Archdiocese of New Orleans? The price just went to $18 million a year. You want me? That's where we're sitting. Or I'll sit in Philly another year, and I'll go to another NFC Championship game with another shot at the Super Bowl. Yeah. This guy's got him by the short hairs.
Yeah, no, you're right. There's no doubt about that. I mean, I don't know what Zach Bond will get, but it'll be interesting to see how it all plays out. I would love to get Myles Garrett. I think he's the one guy where I think you go all out in terms of draft cap. There's not many defensive guys in the league right now. By the way, the other thing to factor into this is the Eagles do have the number 1 overall defense. So I'm not saying you're not going to get better or you're not going to be more wicked on that defensive line, but does Howie look at that and say, do I want to get up 2 first-round draft picks for this guy? We already had the number 1 defense. You see what I'm saying with that? Where it's like, it's one thing if you were 18th and you wanted to get the top 10 and you needed an edge rusher. We're number 1. Like, how much does that factor what Howie wants to do? I don't know. I think it has some factor, but we'll see.
One more time, and I saw somebody in here, and I kind of briefly saw it here, but I still have a problem with Zach 18, 15 million 1 year. I mean, dude, this guy has no history of doing this. So, I mean, he's had 1 great year. And, hey, don't dismiss the fact that Carter and Davis kept people off his ass this year, too, and helped him get that number 1 defensive football team. So, I mean, look, I think you have to pay him a ton of money. I do. But, boy, man, I mean, based off of 1 year, you're going to give a guy $50 million?
No. I mean, I'm giving him – I'll give Zach Bond
11, 13?
I'd even go maybe a little higher than that. Front load
14, 14, 16?
Take care of him because, he didn't get a big contract this year and he performed. I mean, he delivered an all-pro year for you on a couple $1 million contract. I would pay him handsomely basically for that. Not back payment, but like, hey, here's a fucking –
Oh, he was the best linebacker in the league this year.
The other guy who I think might be reworked this summer, and a lot of people are probably going to be surprised to hear me say this, but is Saquon Barkley. He'll probably get a rework contract, and it wouldn't surprise me at all for Howie to give him a couple extra bucks as well for what he did for this team this year. So the other thing I want in the offseason is I want another running back. I don't think you're going to have Saquon Barkley have 400 carries for 2,000 yards a year every single year. How long is that going to last?
I'm getting that. If I'm going to give Barkley more money, I'm getting that in a draft in the 3rd or 4th round. I'll tell you why. You get him on a rookie contract. You're not paying him a lot. You get some of the big miles, like, if you need a spell or so, to go out in free agency, you spend another $3-4 million on a high-quality back. Right. I'm not doing that. I'm going to do that in the draft. See, I don't think Shipley is a guy that can – I don't think he can spell Barkley. Not the kind of running Barkley is. Shipley's more of a shifty 3rd down kind of guy.
I don't like Shipley. I like him. Yeah, I like Shipley. I don't – when I say I want another running back, like somebody answered me this morning and says, we got Shipley. Like, I like the player. That's not what I want him for. I want another back. I want similar to what the Lions have because I think that gives you longevity with this. And they have the same kind of formula here they think they can stick with. Lane Johnson announced he's going to be back next year, win or lose the Super Bowl, which is pretty big. So I think you're going to have another great running game. There you go. Shady Westbrook brings up a good one. Blunt, great guy. I mean, somebody like that we can – we had a 3-headed monster at running back that year. Corey Clement, I think people – I know
they were all different. They were all different skill sets.
Yes, but he had an unbelievable playoffs, man, as an undrafted rookie.
Crazy
what he did, man, what he did in that Super Bowl. So I want another running back, but Myles Garrett might be one of those dudes that you're like, all right, I can live without another running back if you're going to get me Myles Garrett. So we'll see what happens. But I think Howie will be in the sweepstakes for sure.
Hit the like button, guys. All your supers will be read. I promise. Gary Cobb from Fox 29 in Philadelphia will be with us at 4:30. Let me run some of the – this is my Big Sills reasons that the Eagles will beat the Chiefs on Sunday. And I'll do the reverse. Chiefs to beat the Eagles on Super Bowl Sunday. Here's for the Eagles first, to beat the Chiefs. I think you got to get Barkley going, and you got to get that run game going right away to prove to me that Kansas City can stop them, because I do not believe that. I want to start by not spreading the ball around. I want to start by running at you and playing a tough man. I want to play this game in a phone booth in the first 9 minutes of the game, because I don't think you can come out of that phone booth. I think you're going to have to show me you can play inside those confines, and I don't believe you can stop that. Run the ball, run them over. And if you can, then we'll adjust, but I don't believe it.
Agreed, 100%. I mean, there's no doubt about that. I talk like I on here. I was talking heavy because I believe we're a physical football team. Well, you don't come in there and run that ball down your throat. You're going to get rid of 90% of your identity this year. That's not going to bode well for you. So there's no doubt about it, man. What you just said, you got to run the ball effectively. And I do think something that's interesting to watch is Sills is, you know, what type of efficiency are you having if you're not having home runs? You know, Saquon's had a lot of home runs this year, and they're great. Don't get me wrong; they change football games. But my guess would be that Spags is going to do something to try and limit that. And a lot of times you'll see Saquon have 25 carries for 160, and 60 yards came on one play. You know, and then you have 24 other carries at 100 yards. That's an average of 4 yards a carry, 5 yards a carry. That's right in there. So, you know, if the Chiefs can mitigate those long runs, and you can move the Eagles behind the sticks, that's going to be interesting to see. So I would say first down runs are going to be, you got to be efficient on those.
Number two, I brought this up last week, and talking to some of my friends like Dave Wannstedt, who won 3 Super Bowls as a coordinator in Dallas, he agrees with me on this. I'm going to put Zach Bond, Xander, and I'm going to do everything I can to guard Travis Kelce with him. He could win the MVP award doing this because I want Hollywood Brown and Juju Smith-Schuster to beat me. I don't want that guy getting loose in the Super Bowl like he has. He's one of the greatest pass-catching tight ends in NFL Super Bowl history. I don't want him, like Zach Ertz did last week or 2 weeks ago, I don't want him getting loose in that middle of the zone where they can create explosion plays. I'm going to put him there. I'm not saying I'm not going to blitz him. I'm not saying I'm not going to run him. But I'm going to say that his number one job, Mahomes is going to want to get him established to loosen up the numbers to get Brown and Schuster some space. I want those two guys to beat me because I don't think they can.
Is Andy going to exploit that, though?
Again, I want Bond to stop one of them. You've got to try to take some of the options away from him, dude. Yeah. He spreads the ball around.
Well, that's one of their things. Like that's part of what makes them so tricky is they don't have one big name that scares you. But look at what happened to Travis Kelce last week. It didn't matter because he had everybody else involved in the game. Now, I see what you're saying, but
Travis Kelce acts like A.J. Brown on that offense. When A.J. doesn't get the ball thrown to him, you still, like you said to me, you got to account for him. I mean, not having Travis Kelce in that lineup is the equivalent of not having A.J. Brown in that lineup. You have to account for those guys.
Yeah, the difference there is the quarterback, though. The quarterback in Kansas City spreads the ball out much easier than Jalen Hurts does, and that's not a knock on Jalen. He just doesn't spread the ball like that. You know, Kansas City will have 5, 6, 7, 8 receivers sometimes used in any given game. So, you know, I don't love the matchup, by the way, with I love Zach Bond, but you're talking about a guy going up against a Hall of Fame tight end, one of the greatest playoff tight ends in the history of football. And not only that, he's not a traditional catch tight end. In other words, he doesn't run a 10-yard slant route and catch the ball.
He's like Jason Witten.
Weird tight end.
He's like Jason Witten.
Yes, waits for the play to break down. Mahomes will scramble. He comes back to the ball. He finds the open spot in the zones. He doesn't just run regular routes like that. Mahomes and Kelce are kind of they're allowed to play street ball. They've earned the credibility with Andy to play some street ball. So I'm not saying Zach Bond's not good, but he's not experienced like that to be able to hang with Travis Kelce. And then what do you lose on your defense taking him out of what he's used to in that zone coverage? You know what I mean? I don't know. It's going to be interesting. I know Andy's going to have a game plan for this defense. So we will see what they end up doing, but I agree. You got to take away one of them.
It's being reported in New Orleans right now that the Eagles are one of the top 3 candidates for Myles Garrett. So there you go. I mean, number 3 here. Eagles have to play 60 minutes of football, dude.
Yep.
You're going to have to put this team out of its misery. I think you're going to have to play 60 minutes of football against them.
I'm saying 61 minutes, man. You got to have extra.
San Francisco played 59 minutes and got beat.
Yep. I mean, you might have to play 61 minutes, big dog. I mean, do whatever you got to do. If you got to go over the whistle, who knows? This team will crush your soul. I will remind everybody again, Super Bowl 57, we had the lead for the entire football game until 12 minutes left in the fourth quarter. 80% of that football game, we were watching that game as Eagles fans in the lead. Not even just the lead, a 7 to 10 point lead for most of that game. This team will get you if you let them. So there's no doubt. That's probably the biggest one you said already. There's no let up against this team, man. You got to keep it coming versus them and got to make it hard on them.
Number 4. I think Hurts has to make sure if they're going to go to the pass game, Hurts has to spread the ball around, not to just 2 people. I mean, it just can't be AJ and Devontae. It's got to be – I'm not talking about 15 guys. I'm talking about 3 dudes. You got to spread it to Goddard, Devontae, and AJ. You can't have 33% of the targets to one dude against a guy like Spagnuolo, man. I mean, and again, John and I completely disagree on this one here. Spags gets 4 Super Bowls in 2 different places for a reason. Is because this guy schematically knows what he's doing on shutting the best part of your offense is down. And to me, you want to make sure if you're Jalen, you want 3 guys to at least be an option. You don't want it to be 2 guys because then that puts Spags on offense.
Yeah, no doubt about that. So we'll see. We'll see how it happens, but I agree with you.
Here's the next one. I'm going to put Cooper DeJean or CJ Gardner on Xavier Worthy. And I cannot have him have plus 25 plays. Okay.
See, but isn't a lot of what you're saying man coverage right now? They're not going to play man.
No. I'm talking about you let him run down there, and once he's in that zone, you have one of those guys covering that guy in there, because what you can't let them do, you can't let him get past you and have explosion plays. Keep him underneath, Xander, because you know why? I think him catching 10-yard ins and outs and wheel routes, that's a win for Philly. If he's catching 25-yard passes down the field, Kansas City's in a good place if that guy's making big plays down the field.
Yeah, I know.
You
and they
can't have
been
that
great.
guy in open space.
They have not been great at that all year, too, in terms of explosive plays. They're a much more methodical team now. That's why, I said what Jason Cole said, by the way. By the way, poor Jason Cole. I don't post up every Jason Cole interview, but I posted up this one, and he got shredded in the you guys were not happy with what Jason Cole had to say. He says one thing about Jalen Hurts, and you guys get your panties in a bunch. It's hilarious. But our channel was buzzing. I'm like, what's going on? We're getting a lot of nasty comments on the channel that I loaded up. I'm like, oh, Jason Cole got to everybody with this comment on Jalen Hurts in the locker room. But no, he said something about the pace of the game.
Tempo.
And yeah, the tempo of the game, and I thought he was right on the money. Now, John McMullen disagreed with it, but I agree with Jason Cole 100%. If this game is fast-paced, chaotic, Eagles are going to be in major favorite. If this thing slows down and gets into a Chiefs-paced game, and they can extend it and elongate it, and there's stops and there's punts and there's all sorts of stuff, I think that's a favor for the Chiefs, man. Major. Because then you're going to have a close game going into the fourth quarter. If it's fast-paced, the Eagles I think that's where the Eagles are a better team, where if you get more possessions in this game, I would feel better about the Eagles putting up more points in the end. But slows down to Chiefs pace, and I think you're in trouble there.
I think the Eagles are going to have to gamble somewhere in this game. There's going to be 5 coaching decisions that are going to be the outcome of this ball game. Somebody asked me, and I said this an hour ago, well, Sills, what's that gamble? I don't know. Philly wasn't put on the game plan. Philly happened at the moment. Gambling, when you're in game like that, you don't predetermine, hey, we're going to gamble here on 3rd and 7 in the third quarter with 2 minutes left. That's not something you do. Now, you in your mind with your quarterback go over all situational plays that you may call when you're in the game. But all those gambles, I'm talking like this, maybe on your 35, you go for it on 4th and 3. Instead of kicking a 50-yard field goal, you go for it and pass on. Something like that I'm not talking about psychotic fake punts and shit. The Eagles don't have to do that.
Yeah, right.
I'm talking about somewhere in there to extend drives to what you said. I can't have Kansas City have 13 drives and you have 9. I can't give Kansas City more options to beat me.
Yeah, no. You're going to be in trouble if that happens. That would also mean that
you're behind.
Yeah, something happened in the game too that wasn't good for you if you got 4 less drives in Kansas City. So you're turning the ball over or something in there. So no, you're right about that too. I mean, they got to be able to manage this the best they can. And you're going up against the beast. I mean, you kind of shot back at me at the start of the segment where I'm like, I feel good, and you're like, oh, you got to knock off Goliath here. So
I'm not saying you can't.
No, I know. I feel like we can. I'm actually a little more confident than I'd like to be at this point.
Okay. Number 7. Do not let Mahomes extend series with his legs. Keep contained and don't let that guy get going, man. What I don't think you can do, Xander, you cannot let that guy get north of 60 yards rushing, because that is where he gets you when he pulls out the RPO. When he look, he's an RPO quarterback when he wants it to be. He doesn't pull. It's like, you know how he's ambidextrous, or maybe an RPO guy or a drop back guy. This guy's got so many different faces on how to beat you. That's the key to him compared to Brady. Brady's going to drop back 7-step. You know where the fuck that guy is. This guy's going to throw the ball 3 quarters. This guy's going to throw the ball right-handed, left-handed. He's going to take off running. He's not going to take off running. He's got all these weapons. His tool chest is bigger than what Brady's is and how he can beat you on Sundays.
Yeah, and what's one of the most memorable quarterback runs we've ever given up?
Yeah.
4th quarter, Patrick Mahomes. Everybody's like, he's limping, he's hobbling on the leg. Yeah, well, he took the ball, what was it, 35 yards, 40 yards down inside the red zone in that. So, no, there's no doubt, man. He is a scary runner, Sills, because he doesn't need to do it. But when he does do it, oh, man, it can be backbreaking. So you definitely got to manage that. But I feel like the one thing I like about it compared this year is the Eagles are so sound in their zone defense. They typically have had guys that have been able to mitigate the runs. I mean, I know we gave up the 1 to Jaden Daniels, but we were pretty good against him in the NFC Championship game. I think he only rushed for 40 yards in that game, which is not nothing, but there was no big crazy long run. So I feel better about it with our zone defense, but I do think you got to watch out for it, no doubt about it, because he won't do it unless it's the right opportunity, and the right opportunities tend to result in big gains and really controversial gains, which can tilt the game and extend the drive, move the sticks.
Number 9. I think Vic has got to pick his moments to blitz. And what I mean by that is this kid and that coach have seen it all. There's nothing you can do that will surprise him. Nothing that you can do. So disguises, post-snap coverages, things like that. Not getting psycho and getting away from things that made you great, number 1, but you've got to bring pressure and move him around and keep him contained. I don't know what that's going to look like, but that's going to be a challenge for Vic, bringing and putting pressure on Mahomes in the pocket.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to bring much blitzes, though, Sills. I agree with you, by the way, because I think
back there and pick you apart.
I'm with you, but the defense has been so good this year that you've been able to kind of get away with it, right? You have Jalen Carter in the middle. How much pressure can you create with a 4-man front? I think Vic is going to default to what he's done all year, which is probably 15 to 16 to 17% blitzing in the game, maybe even less than that, depending on how the defense is playing. But I tend to fall with your side on this, where you're playing Goliath. You're going to have to switch it up a little bit. You're going to have to do something different because, he's been watching this defense all year. I mean, he's going to have a plan. Like Shady says, no blitzes. Yeah, because Mahomes will beat you. But if you think that Mahomes isn't going to have a good plan for this defense, I think you're also mistaken. So it's kind of a pick your poison. I like the reason I like blitzing, and Sills worded it well. You got to pick your moments. It's not an every day. It's not an every third down thing. It's a pick your moment thing. But if you don't create some confusion, if you don't create something different on Mahomes, I think you're going to have. I think he's going to be able to take advantage of it too much. So I actually agree with you on that for sure. I'd like to see some blitzes here maybe even take a little page out of Spags' book. Get a creative third down blitz, make Mahomes get on his high horse and run and try and force him to make an errant throw. I mean, they just won the AFC Championship game by doing that. That was it. And by the way, that was a pretty unbelievable throw that Josh Allen made that ultimately wasn't caught. But, you live and you die with the result there, and it ultimately was the right move to move Allen out of his spot.
It absolutely was. Number 10. I want to get, I started this off with, I want to get Barkley going, but I also want to get Hurts going in the run game. And you mentioned it, and I said it in the first hour here. I think Jalen is so much better in the passing game when he's in a high up tempo and he gets in the rhythm. When I watched him, when he has high tempo and they keep the personnel on the sidelines, the opposing team, not allowing substitution, I think the Eagle passing game looks absolutely tremendous when he's in a more of an up tempo. I think when he sits back in the pocket, and I would, fight John on this and go, John, he sits in the pocket, he takes sacks. But when they up tempo him and he gets back and throws on rhythm like that, they move the chains, man. They move the chains. But when he sits in that pocket and doesn't pull the trigger, like Brady says sometimes he does it, 16 ball games, he's taken 45 sacks. That's not a lie. That's what's happened this year. He takes too many. So get him more in tempo. So I would say this. Well, if you put him in tempo, that's going to kind of take that sack away from him, or he's going to throw it away. I'd rather have him throw it away than take in the minus play. So, when Xander, next time John says that, go, then how do you constitute the 45 sacks in 16 games if up-tempo's not it? You can't let him go back there in a 7-step because he takes 3 sacks a game. That's a lot of sacks.
There's no doubt you're right.
45 sacks in 16 games. Josh Allen has thrown the ball 135 times more and took 14.
Now, has Mahomes taken a lot of sacks too this year? Was that Cole that said that?
I don't know if he's taken. He may have because the receivers are so bad.
He had 36 sacks this year.
That's a lot.
Yeah. Which is not that was
it
was
tells me about internal pressure because
Yeah.
I'm thinking he's getting it from up the middle.
Yeah. Yeah. No, you're right though about Jalen Hurts with the tempo, man. Sometimes it looks like he's just over analyzing or something if he doesn't, get in that tempo. Excuse me. Jalen Hurts is at his best when he lets it fly, man.
Right.
Like I told you, I rewatched that 22 Super Bowl. I almost couldn't believe it. I turned it on. I'm like, dude, he didn't think. He dropped back, looked, analyzed, boom, and fired. Like he didn't, even on screen passes, get it out, rip it out there. Like he didn't think. And sometimes I think he thinks a little too much and it makes him a second slow. And you know how it is in the NFL. 1 second is all you need in the NFL for those windows to close. So I would expect a lot of up tempo in this game. I would expect maybe they might be in up tempo almost the whole game.
Couple here on the Chiefs, and then we'll do some live reads because we have Gary Cobb at the bottom of the hour.
Yeah.
Here. Chiefs unbeating the Eagles here. I say this to you, man. Chris Jones and that run defense has to stop Barkley. They don't stop Barkley. This is where I agree with John. They're more set up to run you over and run you out of the building.
Yeah.
Okay? Here it is right there, dude. If Chris Jones and those guys can't stop the run,
can you just tell me?
Beat them by 10.
Explain to me. You played defensive tackle at a high level, okay? Higher than 99.9% of planet Earth that ever played defensive tackle. How the fuck do they stop Saquon? Seriously, I mean that one. I mean that 100% genuinely because, even if Chris Jones is terrorizing the middle, that first play last week when they flipped the ball out and Chris Jones ain't getting to Saquon Barkley on the edge, man. No way. You had Jordan, you had AJ Brown block, you had Jordan Mailata 20 yards upfield decking dudes. What do you do? What do you do if you're the Chiefs?
What did I tell you? I told you when we started this. I want to see you stop it. I don't believe it.
Sorry, I don't see it.
I don't see it. I'm right. Hey, have I not been saying that for 2? I'm like, I want to see the Chiefs stop Barkley and that old line. I don't know. Okay. I think this game.
Look, you're right. It's Chris Jones, but
no,
you can run around.
I want to see it.
You can run around Chris Jones.
Kansas City Kansas City's Pacheco and Kareem Hunt, they have to have big games. If they're not over 135, 140 yards rushing combined, they're in trouble there too, because that's what gets play action going for Mahomes. Because if they can't get play action going, bro, you're one-dimensional.
Yeah. And they don't have the horses. They if they're one-dimensional, they're not. That's where their talent will cost them. You know, if you become one-dimensional, that's where you need great players to overcome, and they don't have that. So you're 100% right. If they're not versatile. Now, you know, the other thing here is, and you've been talking about this all year, and I think it will help the Chiefs if they're not able to run the ball. It's going to be, if they can't run the ball, look for Spags to blitz even more, because he's going to try and create a negative play with the Eagles, with his defense, to get the ball back, get a 3-and-out, get a punt, something to switch to tip the scales of the game. So, you know, if they are struggling against to run the ball, which they might, man. Our defensive line's playing really good right now. Jalen Carter in the middle. Milton Williams is playing super good. Even more with Jomo, a 7th rounder a couple years ago, is playing really good right now. So, and then obviously you have Nolan on the edge, who, as great as the sacks have been, he's been really good against the run, and that's a big step up for him, because we question that with his size and, you know, the way he was built. He's been good against the run. So, yeah, if that Chiefs O-line, I mean, I know they got some good offensive linemen, but I don't think they're like the Eagles O-line. I mean, they're going to have a hard time running the ball, I
They
think.
got 3 really great players, though.
No, they do. Yeah, they do. They do have good
Creed
players.
and Tony. I told you this earlier. Tony's got a shot, if he wins Sunday, to win his 5th Super Bowl.
God, that is wild, man.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Here's the last one. Then we'll do the supers. Guys, do me a favor. Please hit the like button here. I said this. I'm not going to go to Andy here. I'll do this last one here. I think Spags has to keep the Eagle offense off balance. He has to get into a point. And if Kellen Moore gets out there and starts trying to establish the pass game, and they get 3-and-outs, that puts Spags on offense. If you're Spagnuolo, you have got to keep the Eagles in 3rd and long. You've got to keep them in 3rd and long, because if you don't, it's over.
Yeah, I agree. You're saying keep the Chiefs in 3rd and long, or
keep the Eagles in 3rd and long.
Yeah, keep the Eagles in 3rd and long. That messes up their whole game plan. That's why the sacks are so important in this game, because you're a running football team. You got to stay ahead of the chains, and if they're not ahead of the chains, it's going to throw off your game plan and what you're able to do. But that's where Jalen's going to have to step up and make a couple throws, and you know that will open up the defense even more. If he makes a couple throws early in the game, Sills, you know, that spread the defense out a little bit, I think it's going to make it a lot easier for Barkley and everybody to run. So, and that'll keep you ahead of the sticks that way. But you're not wrong, man. If you get into a lot of 3rd and long situations, Spags is going to have Jalen Hurts in hell. And it's not a knock on Jalen Hurts. I mean, he had Josh Allen in hell with the way he blitzes off the edge and stuff, getting unblocked defenders and stuff coming at you. So there's no doubt about that. 3rd and longs will be trouble. But if the run look, and it goes back to one of our first points, you got to run the ball effectively on 1st down. Because if you don't, and you know what I mean, then you set yourself up for 2nd and long, 3rd and long. That's where Spags takes advantage of you.
Hey, before we get to Gary, can we do some of these supers?
Yeah, let's rattle off them. We only have a couple. Stig Lord, Kareem Hunt, running back 2. And I want a younger guy. I want a spry, young guy. Harv says, if Myles Garrett comes here to Philly, he'll be the best edge player we've had since Reggie White.
Correct.
Yeah.
He's a 1st ballot Hall of Famer.
I would make that move, by the way. Sydney family, Garrett and Carter, pack it up. I'm done. Wow. Yeah, that would be insane, man.
Yep.
I think Howie would do it, too. I think he's a player that Howie would get rid of the picks for. Harv says, the question is, will Kellen Moore stick with the running game in this game? If he becomes pass happy now, when it matters most, we lose, period. I don't think he's getting off what he's done.
No, if he goes into the pass game and tries to establish that versus, like I said, getting Barkley going first, in my opinion, you play into Kansas City.
That's true. Harv again. Thank you, Harv. The evidence shows the Chiefs win championships. They do what they can to win every game. So what if it's not pretty? Yeah, there's no doubt. That's what Sileo was saying to me at the open here. All right, bro. That's all the supers.
Fantastic. Xander, here we are, Super Bowl week, dude. I mean, great news coming out of New Orleans already. And here we go, man. Over 100 million people are going to watch this. And 2 ball teams, the 2 best teams in football, rightfully so, are going to play Sunday. Brother, we'll catch you tomorrow on Birds 365.
Thank you, Sills. See you, bye. See you, buddy.
You got it. Guys, make sure you hit the like button here. I'll tell you something. Before we get into some of the things that we just talked to Xander about, I do want to get into, by the way, Keith Byers will join us tomorrow. And we will have Angelo on Thursday. And I believe Ray Didinger will be with us on Friday. So we'll have a bunch of people here. And before I get Gary on here, Myles Garrett to the Eagles. Like I told you earlier, they would want AJ in a fourth. Andrew Berry is going to probably receive about 15 to 20 calls on what the price tag is going to be for him. And Eagle fans, do me a favor. You don't trade an F-150 for a Ferrari. I know many of you want to put Bryce Huff in a trade for Myles Garrett. That's not going to get it done. And there's $79 million that you have to restructure to make that deal happen. I'm saying Washington's the top candidate because they have $100 million in cap space and 10 draft picks. That's where you don't want to see them land. All right. Super Bowl 59 in 7 days. Let's bring in Gary Cobb from Fox 29. Gary, here we are, man. I mean, a lot of news right out of the gate, and Myles Garrett let the Browns know earlier today that he doesn't want to remain. His idea was to get to Canton, was not to go through Cleveland, but to get to Canton no matter how that looked. And coming out of New Orleans right now, the Commanders and the Eagles are some of the top candidates right now to land him. Do you think that's viable for the Eagles to land a guy like Myles Garrett?
Well, I think it's something that that they could do. Depends on how, it's going to be expensive. I imagine they probably want either young players or draft picks because they're going to try to rebuild what they're doing out there. So they want young players or draft picks. The Eagles have some outstanding young players, but I don't know how crazy they are about wanting to give them up. But I imagine there's some young players maybe they feel like they could find somebody else to step in there. So, but Myles Garrett, he's a player you build a whole defense around. I mean, he's a dominant player. He plays hard. He's not just a talented guy. He's a driven player who could be a leader on an outstanding team. So he is a guy you would be interested in. And, he's a guy right away. He makes you better because they got to double team him and they're still not going to stop him. He's that type of player. Now, really, if you put him and Jalen Carter, come on. People are going to say, you know what? We can't find a flight for that game we're going to play, you guys. We're not coming out there.
They're going to get on the bus.
That's right. Or they're going to put in, they got a good quarterback. They said, look, you're going to take this one off this week. We're not sending our quarterback out there to have those guys going after him. So he is an outstanding player and everything, but it's something the Eagles would have to think about, because it probably would be expensive to get him. So
there's another conversation out there, and maybe you heard this, but there's word that if the Eagles win the Super Bowl, that Jeff Stoutland would consider retiring at 63 years of age. And I mean, you and I know there's coaches, Gary, that want to go until like a Supreme Court appointment. Like, you think they're going to coach forever. But some guys aren't built like that. Some guys want to, 2 Super Bowls, national championship at Alabama when he was there. I mean,
that's right. They want to enjoy their life some too. Yeah.
What do you make of that? I mean, is that something to keep an eye on with all the changes?
It would be a huge loss, but what can you do? I mean, you got to try to replace him. You're not going to be able to replace him with the same quality guy because the guy is a special offensive line coach. And I've been around some good ones, we had some good offensive line coaches when I was in college. Hudson Houck, who wound up going down there to
Dallas.
Yeah. Yeah, he was the guy we had when I was at USC. We had a great offensive line. And
is that the guy who coached Anthony Munoz?
Oh, yeah. He was the guy on the offensive line. Oh, yeah.
Wow. And Bruce Matthews and all them guys?
Right. Hudson Houck, he was the one down there because we used to get into fights with them because with our defense and our offensive line, but that's what they wanted. They wanted a battle, and he was an outstanding offensive line coach. But I couldn't say enough about the way I see guys grow that play for him. even the backups. He makes them. I mean, the guy comes out before the game, each game, and he works out all the guys, that are, let's say, whatever, the chances are they're not going to play or whatever.
Fred Johnson.
He works on their technique, man. So when his guys get in there, they do their job. They have backups. They get in there. You're going like, man, he did a good job in there. And he's as good as they get when they come. And the other thing about, you can see, and this is one of the key with coaches, the guy cares about his players.
Yeah.
And these guys know, hey, man, coach is looking out for my, my best. Even if I don't make it here, coach is going to help me make it somewhere else because he's teaching me the game and everything. And his guys play for him, man. And this is what, assistant coaches really are. They don't get the credit they deserve because the good ones are where you get championship teams at, where you got assistant coaches teaching players. They bond with the player. The guys are working hard for them. And that's what you got with him. He's an outstanding coach. And like I said, all the guys that they speak so highly of him. And you see the young offensive lineman, he has them working just like he really, come on, what he did with Jordan Mailata, never played any football. The way he developed him.
Look what he's doing with Micaiah Becton.
Yeah, you're right. Look at it. Come on. And he turns the guys loose. And the thing I love about him is it's not just technique. He teaches guys to whoop butt, man. Yeah. They go out, they be whooping butt and taking names, man. And he doesn't take away their aggressiveness, but he teaches them the proper technique. So when a guy goes in there, then he can turn it all loose, man. And I love the fact that he's got the combination there, which is, that aggressiveness, but in solid technique, smart. Now I'll tell you, one of the keys to this game, man, some of their offensive line, they were talking about, earlier in the season, and I knew that if they get out of the huddle, get up on the line of scrimmage, and they get the chance to call the play up there. A lot of times, let Jalen check into things because with their running game, that's one of the keys to their running game. You go ahead and jump in your set, man. They're gonna call a play against that front, and if he hits, if you got all these people on the line of scrimmage, and he hits a crease, you might as well go ahead and go, hey, wave that one goodbye, man, because he's gone, and that's what they've been able to do. But and that's one of the things I don't think Jalen gets credit for is that he's done a great job with that, changing the play. And see, the big thing is you need him in there, though. See, in that Washington game, that was one of the halves where they were able to stop Saquon because the threat of the RPO and bootleg and all that is not there unless Jalen is there, And so Jalen, he presents that problem for a defense. Now you're going to take the chance. Would you rather have Jalen running down your sideline for 50 yards, or do you want Saquon the threat of taking it to the house? Now, either way, it's not something you want. See, so that puts pressure on the defense, and that's what is going to be one of the keys in this game. And you're going to see what happens pre-snap. How quickly do they get out of huddle? And I would like to see them go some no huddle, man. Go some no huddle and put pressure on Spags because Spags is coming off that corner, that slot. He loves to blitz off that slot, man. He sends the nickel.
Yeah, no, he does.
Yeah.
Gary, that leads me. I got a couple. This is what I think the Eagles need to do to beat the Chiefs here.
Okay.
And I'm gonna start with one here. I think you got to get Barkley established right away because I want to see if Kansas City can stop that run game. I just don't believe because two things, Gary, in this game for me. I don't believe the Eagle defense can stop Mahomes. I want to see them because Kansas City's in the business of winning Super Bowls.
Correct.
The Eagles are not yet. So you've got to. The only people that have stopped him in Super Bowls have been Brady. I want to see the Eagles, but on the other hand, I don't think Kansas City can stop Barkley in that old line because all year long, Gary, you and I know, man, when you have a team running the ball the way the Eagles do, that's like having one hand tied behind your back. And you're in a fight and you can't use both hands and they're beating the shit out of you and you're not ducking because there's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah.
So to me, getting Barkley going immediately And limiting Mahomes on possessions is going to be essential.
Yeah. That's going to be a part of it. Even though I would tell you this, that even though, I think, Barkley is essential that they get him going, they're going to need Jalen to throw this ball if they're going to win this game. So I might want to take some shots on first down because, see, if you throw the ball on first down, it's going to give Jalen a chance to get going. I don't think you're going to have to worry about getting Barkley going. That's what that's what they do best. I think you got to get Jalen because if he gets going, now they got a problem. Because Barkley's got a problem. They want to stack the box. They want to be yelling at guys to get off blocks. We can't let this guy, hey, you start pounding them, but you still do want to get Jalen going too, see? Because and the thing about it is you could get him going where sometime on first down. You're giving the ball to Barkley, you're feeding him, he's the heart. But sometimes on first down, you give Jalen, it's a confidence play. They're going to be in a zone or something. They're trying to stop the run. He gets a quick out or something. He gets a completion. Now you got him involved, So, and then also with a running play where it's an RPO where he might keep one of them and run with the ball. But because if you get him in it, with him and Barkley flowing, the Chiefs have got their work cut out for them.
Oh, yeah.
Now, nobody's been able to stop them when you get both of them going. They got a problem. And the thing is, but that you want to get Barkley going. There's no doubt about it. But I would say you sprinkle in there a play or two for Jalen. You get him in there too. But Barkley, he's the reason for this he's the core of your offense. But this is a good one. I mean, I have already been, writing some things down, like in talking about what I'm going to do to stop Kelsey. They got.
That's great. That's the next one here. I would put Vaughn on Kelsey, and here's why. Kelsey is the same equivalent of AJ being on the field, even if the ball doesn't go to him as a decoy, because as you know, Gary, AJ being out there, whether he's getting catches or not, you still got to put a body on that guy because that guy can beat you. And
That's
to
right.
me, I put my best player on that guy, and I want Hollywood Brown and I want Juju Smith-Schuster to beat me. If they're going to beat me in the passing game, I don't want Kelsey to beat me because look what happened last week. Zach Ertz had 11 catches for 116 yards.
That's right. And because what they're thinking is Terry McLaurin. He was the guy they were taking away. Now, I agree with you. And that's why I really would mix it up on him. I'm not going to show them the same thing. I'm going to double him with the linebacker and the safety. I'm going to double him sometime with both of the backers. But I'm going to get physical with him. I would get up and have some of my D-line line up on him, take his head off. You know what I mean? Hey, we're not out here to make friends.
Oh, so you're going to put a body and try to wear him out there.
I'm going to try to wear him out some. I want to hit him, but I always got people on him. But at times, I want the D-line line right up on him and bust it. Hey, put a shot on him, I want him to do that, because I don't want to show them the same thing. I want to show them different looks. But we can't be stupid like some of these other teams, though. Do you look at any tape or anything? How could you not be covering this guy?
Yeah.
I mean, what do you do? I mean, some of them I don't get, but a lot of times I'm gonna double team him. Different times I'm gonna double team him. Key situation, I'm going. One of you other guys gonna have to beat me, man. I'm not gonna let him beat us.
Yeah, he's one of the greatest players in Super Bowl history.
Now, you know something else he does. Like you're in a zone. What he will do is he'll fire off, let's say at the defensive end, like he's blocking down on him. Get kind of involved.
He checks and then releases.
Then he releases. The linebackers are backed out there. Now he'll catch him for 5 yards and get 7 yards on a gimme route. I mean, you're going like, man, you can't let him, keep doing that. You got to change some things up to take that away from him because, he plays smart football now and he knows the coverages. So he's smart, but he will try to get lost. Like even on let's say a bootleg or anything, he's going to get lost in there and then he's coming out the other side. But they got to show him different looks because you can't just do the same thing against him. because they will run a play for that, whatever you but most of the time, everybody's got to know where he's lining up at. You can't have him where on each play, you got to know where he is. Where's 87? 87, right, 87. You got to know where he's up. And the guy's got to be talking, and they got to show different looks. I'm going to let Cooper DeJean cover him sometime.
Yeah.
Now, Cooper can run with him and everything, but he's going to try to get physical. That's where I want the defensive lineman. You know, when he comes off, I tell him, don't worry about the pass rush. If you're lined up on Kelsey, you know, I'm not going to tell you try to break his neck, but I'm going to tell you try to break his neck. You know?
But Gary, do you agree on this one here?
Yeah.
Do not let Mahomes extend plays with his legs. I mean, if you don't set the edges on this guy, look at the last 2 Super Bowls. He had a huge run against the Eagles, and last year he ran for 64 yards, almost all in the second half against San Francisco.
Yeah.
He seems, Gary, to pull that RPO out when he needs it most, not when he's in regular season games.
Now,
do you think that's essential?
Now, that's why defensive line, okay. I know everybody wants to be the hero, okay? Fellas, keep contained, okay? I know you want to be the hero to get 5 sacks and you're the player of the game and everything. If you're not going to keep contained, I'm going to get you out of there.
Yeah.
Okay? Keep contained on this guy. We don't want him running all over the place. We don't want him taking off. And we want to keep him inside the pocket, you know. And the other thing, you know, which is key points, is if you're a man-to-man, you know, you guys in the secondary and the linebackers, you're in man-to-man, you got to play man-to-man until he crosses that line. When he crosses the line, then we're coming after him. But you got to realize this guy is sneaky. He will come up. He knows where the line of scrimmage is. He's coming up there, and you leave early, and your guy was wide open. Guess what? He's stopping there. He's going to throw it to him, you know? So you got to play smart football. And you know, he knows the rules just like you should know the rules. He's got to cross the line of scrimmage in order for, you know, you to leave your guy and come up and make the tackle off. On zone, which they're going to probably try to play some zone, you know, because of the way he scrambles and things. Zone, man, hey, he crosses that line, man, we got to get him, you know. Not before that, though, because, you know, he will stop right there and he will hit a guy, you know, if you're standing near somebody. So you got to play smart against him because he's a smart football player.
Finally, Gary, do you have any problems with Kellen Moore filling out his coaching staff? And supposedly Clint Hurt may become his defensive coordinator in New Orleans now. And boy, I mean, here, you know, they're talking about meeting right after that Monday, probably going to name him. How in the world could you not do this, Gary? It's human nature. My number one priority, obviously, I want a ring too. Everyone wants a ring. But when I'm going to get generational wealth like that, and the Saints have basically told everybody it's your gig, how are you not putting your coaching staff together? And how doesn't that – I mean, look at this right here, Gary. Watch this. Wait a minute, Gary. Hang on. I got to take a phone call. Our interview right now. Hang on.
Come on.
Yeah. Wait a minute. WIP. Yeah. Hey, Gary, hang on here. I'll be right here. Okay. Yeah. Right after the program, I'll do an interview. Hang on, Gary. Okay. Yeah. No problem. I don't care what it is, Gary.
Come on.
It's distracting.
It's distracting, and you really can't, you know, I don't know what the league could do about it. You know, I don't know what they could do about it. This happens every year. You know, I mean, I don't want to accuse those Detroit coaches of doing anything, but look, you see what happened?
Yeah.
Both of those guys, before the game, they're already talking and everything now. You're going to tell me.
Look how fast Detroit filled those coordinator roles.
Yeah. I mean, you think about it. It's something that happens every year, you know. And if you're in the bowl, chances are your guy, they're going after your guys. Now, this happened a couple of years ago with the Eagles, you know.
Yeah, Jonathan Gannon, Sheikin.
Come on. Both of them, you know, and you know, a lot of people wasn't crazy about Jonathan Gannon. Was saying, look, you know, you didn't have a great Super Bowl, that fella, you know. You know, was your mind on the game or was your mind on that money you were getting ready to collect and the different coaches you were going to hire and stuff? You know, you're sitting over there and, you know, and that's the kind of thing. But you know, you got human nature. I mean, how can a guy not think, but when he's sitting there looking at, let's say you know, you're looking at $40-50 million guaranteed money, you know.
How about this one? Frank Wright would end a lot of that conveyor belt right now. And I talked to Frank last week, Gary. And Frank told me that the Eagles had contacted him because you know how he's always looking for contingency plans. And Frank wouldn't elaborate, but they have contacted him. Now, they could have been asking him for other candidates because, remember, he's still getting David Tepper money. So Tepper's still paying him on that contract that he went down there at Carolina at $7 million a year. So he's in no hurry to do anything. Still, if you were able to work the same dynamic that Cliff Kingsbury's still being paid by the Bidwell money in Arizona. So they kind of offset that with what he's making as the OC in Washington. Wouldn't that be the perfect hire for the Eagles if you bring Frank back?
I think it would be a good. I mean, I thought he was a quality guy. That he knew what he was doing. He did a good job in that position, and you know, I think he would do an outstanding job. So yeah, I could see them doing that. But we'll see. You know, when that time comes. But you know, it is not the. You know, it's not the prettiest thing. You know, when you got a guy, you know, you fight, you get to the Super Bowl, and when you get there. You know, you got this money comes up in here. Now, come on now. Now, a guy could tell me, oh, no, that doesn't bother me in the least. Listen.
Yeah, okay.
You're looking at 50 million or whatever, guaranteed money. And you go, you know, I mean, I love these guys on the team, and I really want to.
Gary, $2 million a year to be a coordinator versus $10 million to be the head coach for 4 years guaranteed. You're telling me that I'm not going to look and go, I need the best coordinators I can possibly hire. And if I'm pushed against it, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to elevate some of the people that are in the room with me right now that helped me get to the Super Bowl, like Clint Hurt.
Yeah, you're right.
Those are going to be the kind of guys. Or Bobby King, the linebacker coach.
Well, see, and the thing you're doing is you just, you know, this happens all the time.
Yeah.
You know, when you're a good team, this is one of the setbacks. This is one of the problems, is that they're going to come grabbing your assistants. You know, they're going like, hey, these guys are the best, you know, that are available. So we're going after them, you know.
Right on, man. Gary, Super Bowl 59.
Yeah, I'm heading out of here on Wednesday, man.
Oh, my. Hey, hey, I'll tell you what. Wait a minute now. Wait. Kansas City Chiefs and Eagle fans in New Orleans during Mardi Gras should be good.
hey, I'll put my money on the Eagles fans.
Oh, me too, man. Hey, when it comes to knockouts, I got Eagle fan in that fight big time.
I'm putting all my money on the Eagles fans because they don't play, man.
No.
They don't play.
Hey, I got videos to prove it. Sileo, if they fucking lose, I'm beating you down.
Hey, that's right. Hey, and they're basically gonna have you're gonna have a lot of quotes, some good quotes. They're gonna give you some good quotes because chances are they're gonna be using some real choice language.
Talking shit. Eagle fan likes to talk shit before he knocks you out. I like it.
Yeah, that's right.
Gary, fly safe, my friend. I appreciate it.
Have a good one.
You got it. Gary Cobb, who's going to be heading down to New Orleans himself there too. So we'll get him on Monday. It's always a great time, especially down in New Orleans. We appreciate everybody. Xander, if I missed some super chats during that time, please let's read them now because we will always make sure everybody who sends supers, we get to them. After bye, Vic has been great at taking away the first reads by aggressive at the line of scrimmage and passing off through zones. They've done a great job with that. Remember something, though, too, Mad D. They play man coverage 3% of the time this past season. He may have to mix that up a little bit, especially if you're doubling down on Kelsey. Any more, Xander, if we have any more supers, man. Guys, do me a favor. Please hit that like button. You guys have been really great, man. Give me a total on where we are in the likes, too. What we're going to do next, my top 40. My top 40 Eagles and Chiefs. Okay, for Super Bowl 59. Don't forget our great friends at Morgan & Morgan. By the way, I think John Morgan, one of the greatest sports fans of all time, is going to join the program. He wants to talk some Super Bowl. I believe that's Wednesday, Xander, at 5:30 that he's going to join us. John Morgan could buy the Eagles. John Morgan could buy any football team. The guy's worth $4 billion. He's one of the richest guys in the world. I think he's number 1,114 richest men in the world. And John and Morgan, absolutely a gigantic sports fan. And his company has been built to protect you. One of the coolest things, I've known John for over 20 years, is the fact that they have built, him and Ultima, his wife, have built this company for over 20 years to defend families around the country. Morgan & Morgan is America's #1 injury law firm in America, with over $20 billion recovered for clients around the country. This is what they do. John has built this company with the thousands of lawyers to go out and make sure they defend families. Guy in Pennsylvania here, I told you the story already. A client was only offered $650,000 by an insurance company. Morgan & Morgan went, "Are you crazy, man? Not happening." That family was rewarded $26 million. In Florida, where the company was founded, there was a client that was offered $350,000 from an insurance company. John's folks went in there at Morgan & Morgan and recovered over $12 million for that respected family. Look, he knows life's hard, and everyone knows it. Some of the toughest decisions in life that you'll make have a lot to do with your family. This will be the easiest you've ever done. If you're ever injured, please check out my friends at Morgan & Morgan. The fee is free unless you win. For more information, go forthepeople.com /big sills or pound 529. That's FOR, thepeople.com /big sills or pound law 529. And do me a favor, you tell them Big Sill sent you.
This is Eric. When he got injured in a car accident, he called Morgan & Morgan. He not only gets a lawyer, he gets trial lawyers like Sam and Jessica, who are in it to win it. He gets his own investigators with briefcases, leather ones. And if you ever have questions, our customer service folks keep things rolling. Injured? We're your army. Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm.
If you missed any of today's show on the JAKIB Media channel, listen to the podcast on your way home. Available on YouTube, Apple, and Spotify.
Ignite your nights with free live entertainment daily, only at Live Casino and Hotel Philadelphia's Center Bar. 7 days a week, enjoy some of the region's top party bands, performers, and DJs as they take the stage in the heart of the casino action. Great cocktails, live music, and lively moments. It's all happening at Center Bar at Live Casino and Hotel Philadelphia. Visit livecasinophilly.com for more details and the complete list of upcoming events. Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
The following is a real testimonial from the father of a young injured victim.
I didn't think she was going to make it.
Major Perry's daughter was the victim of a horrific accident caused by someone else's negligence.
If you don't find the right counselor, law firm that you're looking for, you will get lost in the wilderness.
Badly injured? Call the Fritz and Bianculli Law Firm at 215-458-2222 and find out why they say, "We got this."
In our hometown, we all look out for each other. We step up to keep our communities going strong. And at Independence Blue Cross, we're here to keep you going strong as the #1 health insurer in the region. No IBX is always looking out for you.
We noticed that there was mold creeping into our basement about a year and a half ago, and wanted to make sure that we were getting rid of the problem permanently. We actually reached out to several different contractors to get it resolved, and actually 2 of them recommended DryTech to us as a long-term solution. Other than the noise factor, we wouldn't even know that there was work being done on the basement level. It's really been a clean process for us.
Score and save this football season on your car insurance. Before the next game, save up to 40% on your auto insurance policy. That's right, 40% savings. Call an Audible this season and contact the Del Val Insurance Group. They're an advocate for you, not an insurance company. That means they'll get you the right coverage and save you up to 40%. Call managing partners Fran or Jim of Del Val Insurance, 215-354-0122, or score and save at dvigi.com. dvigi.com.
EAGLES, Eagles.
Red National Football Show. Please hit the like button. Give me a total as we're getting ready to move into the power hour, the final hour of the program. We appreciate you guys so much. All supers will go to the top. You guys have been absolutely sensational. Thank you very much. Super Bowl 59 week. Here we are. We're 7 days away. Here's something before we get to the top 40. I've ranked the top 40 players that will play Sunday in the Super Bowl. 293. Let's see if we can get to 400. I don't know what's more of a bullshit show, The View or the Pro Bowl. I don't know what a tougher watch is. I think you should just have a party. Or maybe take the Pro Bowl and the guys who have made the Pro Bowl and make it part of the NFL honors and just announce the Pro Bowl because the games suck. Playing a game sucks. Just end the thing. It's unwatchable. Watching guys play flag football, I mean, I tuned it on for 5 seconds and said, what is this? This is stupid, man. You're wasting people's time doing this. Look, everyone loves the NFL, and anything the NFL does, they're Teflon. But don't diminish the game. The Pro Bowl sucks as it is. Get rid of it. The whole concept. I'm not saying you don't name the team, but not having an all-star game. It's the worst all-star get-together of any professional sports team. Or league, I should say. The NBA All-Star game sucks. 199 to 196. I have no interest in that. The NHL All-Star game, unfortunately, not enough eyeballs. That's probably the best. Baseball is the best. I like baseball's All-Star game. Still the best. Will always be the best. The midseason classic. Okay? But I'm with you, Jack. I like watching the NHL All-Star game. I'm okay with that. I've been to a couple of them. But, I mean, baseball and the NHL, the rest of them are awful. Okay? It's just, I don't know what the NFL is trying to get out of this. I don't know what the NFL is getting out of this. I can't wait for Media Day. That's coming up, I think, tomorrow down in New Orleans. I like Hurts' answer. Someone asked him a question about his last memorable moment that he had in Super Bowl 57. He said, next question. That's good, man. That's on his mind, getting beaten, losing that game. Hey, losing the losses hurt more than the excitement on winning. I don't know why, but the losses, they're different. You remember them more. I think you remember sorrow more than you do love. I mean, some of the greatest games in my life I ever played in, people remind me of some of the things. The losses I never forget, especially the big ones. Yeah, Abe, it's like a scar. Damn, especially the bigger the game. I mean, you lose like games against Florida State, or you lose to the Saints. Or you go to Green Bay and you lose up there. Shit like that. I mean, lose a national title game. For me, those games, damn. Look at Pat. Pat still can't forgive Mitch giving up the home run to Joe Carter in the World Series. Is that right, Pat? Mitch Williams, his pitch still gets to you, huh? Hey, is that right, Pat? Right? Mitch Williams giving it up to Joe Carter and him circling the bases, right? That still sticks in my craw, man. Him doing that shit and giving up. I was 9. It sucked. Yeah. Got my Saquon jersey. I won today. Bird Gang girl. Thank you very much, man. I appreciate that. Really cool. Really. Xander giving a whole bunch of stuff away during Super Bowl 59 week. We appreciate you guys coming aboard. Absolutely awesome. Hey, how about Zach Bond going back to New Orleans? Wonder how he feels going back, the victor. You know how you go back to a place and everyone looks up at you and they go, oh, wow, you're a superstar now. And you were there. Nobody knew who you were. Nobody knew who you were. Zach Bond. How many years? CJ too, right? How many years was Zach, though, in New Orleans? 5? 4? How many years was he in New Orleans? And they didn't know what he had. I mean, now he's fighting. He's first team all Emirates. Is it 4? Dude. Brian says, are you, Dan, preparing us for a loss? I'm not saying shit until Friday. That's not where I'm going. I'm not saying shit to Friday. I'll tell you this, Brian. I'm going to hang. Thanks, Emrys. Hit the like button, guys. Try to get to 400 by the end of the show here. I'm still going to hang on these 2 lines. I don't believe your defense can stop Patrick Mahomes. And I do not believe the Kansas City Chiefs defense can stop the Eagles offense. I do not believe it. I think those are the 2 storylines. I do not believe it. Okay? I don't. I mean, I haven't seen a team. Some go, well, Pittsburgh. Really? You really think Pittsburgh stopped that offensive line? Yeah, maybe by the numbers, but I don't know, man. I saw people getting thrown around again. Okay? That's a great question, the Real Zeal. Hey, Real Zeal, is this fair to say? How many stops did you get in Super Bowl 52? Do you remember? What was the one stop you got in Super Bowl 52? What was the one stop? You only needed one. You only needed one stop to win the Super Bowl. Right? You may only need one stop in Super Bowl 59. That's defining stop. You're not stopping a generational coach and quarterback. You didn't stop Brady. You made a play on Brady. You made a play on Brady. Brady threw for 500 yards. You made a play on him. That's all you needed to win it. Kansas City made a play on Hurts. It was a defining moment in the game that helped dictate Kansas City's victory. Did it not? The strip sack? Scoop and score? You won by 3. Seals, you're not blaming. No, I'm telling you there was one play in the game that was the difference in that ball game. You only need one stop. One stop. You guys think you're blowing Kansas City up. Okay. I want to see that too. Everything Kansas City has done is documented. They have a resume of Super Bowls. You don't. That's what I was trying to tell Xander. Hey, I'm not saying you can't beat them. Far from it. Far from it. I'm just telling you, we have the better roster. This is what you're saying. We have the better roster. We have the better run game. Our defense is number one. All that's true. Here's what Kansas City says. We have 3 rings and 2 in a row. We're going for 3. That's trumps anything you said. We're the better team. We're the champion. Anything you say, Kansas City trumps you. Go get it. Okay? Get this. I'm not wrong on this. This is facts. Okay? Kansas City's won Super Bowls. You haven't. That's not wrong. I have not told you anything today on theory about Kansas City. I have not told you one thing on Kansas City. That's a theory. You're projecting the things you're saying about the Eagles. Kansas City does it and wins. How many one-score games, Xander? 13? Hey, I could get 5. But this team knows how to win. Once again, I'm not suggesting you can't win Sunday. No way. No way. Okay? Moot point? Really, Twins? You're talking about what you think you can do. I'm telling you what they've done and are doing in the middle of a run. Your point is moot until you do it. We stopped them a bunch in the first half in Super Bowl 52. You had to play 60 minutes against them to beat them. And you ended up beating by 8, I believe. Patriots. Okay? I'm talking about games on the line. Hey, Steve. You beat them last year, then you ended up getting beat by Seattle, the Giants, and Arizona. What the fuck does that win mean against Kansas City? Nothing. Congratulations. Here's your commemorative participation ribbon you love, along with your silver medal that you got in 57. Congratulations. You sound like somebody else I know that says finishing second in Super Bowls 4 years in a row is a good thing. I don't know. Have at it. I mean, I don't know. Have at it. Okay? Right? Look at Francis. Francis, I like this. Lost a high school football playoff game in 78, still sucks. Dude, I get it. Losing stinks, especially when you're in moments that are etched in your brain forever. That's cool, dude, that you have that memory. Not that you lost, but that you still reflect back on that. By the way, we learn more from our losses, brother. Francis, we learn more from our losses than we do our wins. Okay? Everybody in life does. You don't learn anything from being a front runner. You learn from losses and things that have failed in your life so that you can correct them. All right. Hey, get this. Tom Brady talks more about his shitty losses, he calls them, to Nick Foles. Do you agree here with me, guys? Brady talks more about his losses to Eli and Foles than he talks about his wins. That's how I perceive it. When I hear Brady talking, all I hear about Brady talking about the losses. Tom never talks about beating the Rams or the Patriots or the Eagles. He always talks about those 3 games. I was informed of this last night. Josh Sweat will be a Miami Dolphin in the offseason. Remember, I said that. He's going to take over for Calais Campbell. Calais Campbell's retiring. And Josh Sweat will be a Dolphin. Or Josh Sweat and Milton Williams will be a Miami Dolphin. So just keep an eye on that. Okay? Josh Sweat's going to be a Dolphin. He's a free agent at the end of this year. And the Dolphins were thinking of trading when Vic was the coordinator down there 2 years ago. So I wouldn't be shocked if both dudes end up in Miami. Okay? Josh Sweat. I'm going to tweet that out after the show. Will be a Miami Dolphin when free agency starts. Either there, Buffalo, Baltimore. He's great friends, Rosenhaus. As a matter of fact, there's 2 Miami Hurricane former players that are on Drew Rosenhaus' staff that are very close to me. So I got a funny relationship with Drew Rosenhaus. And by the way, he also represents Slay. So, Cardinals, Josh Sweat. Depends on the money. Okay? If Clint gets the job in New Orleans, Milton Williams could be in New Orleans. Yeah. I would say this. Milton in New Orleans and Sweat in Miami. Or vice versa. Tampering much? Why? Agents can call general managers every day. They do. Howie Roseman picks the phone up every day and talks to agents. That's not tampering at all. Hey, are you in the business for an end? Yeah, well, I may have a guy. Who do you rep? Well, at the end of the free agency here, Josh Sweat's contract is up March 1st or March 17th, first day of free agency. Agents talk to general managers. It's not tampering. General managers can't call agents now and inquire about a player. The agent has to call the GM. Are you in the market for an end? That's how that works. Don't you get when hey, you know what's funny? A lot of you guys don't get it when Thursday at midnight, when that clock hits, do you ever wonder why there's a rush to all the signings and all of a sudden those guys are signed? Because they had been talking 3-4 months in previous conversations on getting those deals inked. What do you think? They just cut those deals at 12:01? They're starting negotiations now. Ghost, it's correct. The Saints have $54.1 million that they have to get off the books. It's true. Absolutely. There's going to be a lot of turnover in New Orleans. A lot of big price guys are going to be gone. I know Cam Jordan could be gone. because of the money he makes down there. Alvin Kamara could be gone. Tyson Hill could be gone. They're going to completely rebuild that. And by the way, if Kellen gets that deal, which he's going to, that's why he's going to get 4 years. Tyrann Mathieu, Honey Badger will be gone. All the high-priced guys are going to be gone. They got to cut salary. Derek Carr, they got to make a decision. So let me ask you this. Okay? If you're Kellen Moore right now, okay? If you're Kellen Moore, the only thing that's guaranteed Derek Carr right now is $10 million. Come March 1st, another 30 post March 1st is guaranteed to him. That's $40 million for Derek Carr. Are you paying that? I don't know. I don't know. Why am I paying $40 million for Derek Carr? Would I give 40 guaranteed for that guy? When I can get Sam Darnold down there for cheaper, for 25? If I were the Saints, I'd sign Darnold for $25 million. 30 million. Give me a younger kid. And cheaper. Derek Carr, 40? I don't know. Look at Baker Mayfield. Okay? I mean, Baker Mayfield makes $30 million and has had really good seasons down in Tampa. So, all right. That's a shitty organization to take over as head coach versus being, that's ridiculous, Eduardo. You're telling me being the head coach of an NFL football team, you think the Eagle OC job is the better job being a head coach in the NFL when you're going to make $10 million versus $2 million guaranteed. Where in the world do you think that's correct? And you could be fired next year if Hurts doesn't turn around the passing game or something catastrophic happens. How ridiculous is that? Were you going to get guaranteed $50 million versus making $8 million? Eduardo, where in your right mind would you think that that's a common sense move? Being the head coach of a football team to make $50 million versus $8 million. Even if the job sucks, you got generational wealth. Now, I'll just sit here and make $2 million as the OC with the passing game, the way it looked last year with my shot at now getting back to the Super Bowl next year for Philly, the way you did this year, you're counting on another $2,000? All right. I don't believe that's ever happened in NFL history. Being the OC is a better gig than being a head coach. I didn't say that all jobs are equal. The Cowboy job. Hey, what do you think is a better job, the Saint job or the Cowboy job? I think the Saint jobs. I think the Dallas Cowboy job is one of the worst jobs you can have because you have no control of your destiny. In New Orleans, you have control of your destiny, albeit a tough climb, but at least you're your own boss. I mean, Jerry Jones controls your future. Did you talk about Chit coming back to the NFL? I did. I told you this right after Ohio State won the national championship. Don't be shocked if Chip Kelly gets a high-profile job. I know some of you remember me saying it. Don't be shocked. Now he's the OC with the Raiders. I'm not shocked. Chip can call an offense. That's okay, Ghost. Chip can call plays. He just has horrible bedside manner. He's terrible. Now, maybe it's improved. I don't know. I wouldn't hire him. I think sometimes coaches are who they are as assholes. I don't mind an asshole in the right way. But I mind an asshole that thinks he knows what's best for everything and won't at least adjust it, you know? Hey, you were wrong here with this guy. Just admit it. And he won't admit that. That's my problem with him. By the way, you know how he got back in the NFL? Look at what Chip did to get back in the NFL. He quit being the head coach at UCLA. Not a bad job. But he knew he wasn't going anywhere because they weren't going to spend money on nil, only for hoop. That's a hoop school. So he quit that to become a downgrade, the offensive coach and offensive coordinator in Columbus for Ohio State. Because he knew he could get further with his career taking a step backwards. He took a step backwards to go forward. And now he's with Pete Carroll in Las Vegas. So you got Pete Carroll and you have, and by the way, Pete Carroll will keep his ass in line. So you have Chip Kelly and you have Pete Carroll in the building now. That's not awful. He's not going to, I don't know if he's changed. Play calling wise, he's a good play caller. Running people? I don't think so. Okay? Plus, you got Carroll. You're not going to act up stupid around Pete Carroll. I'll fire your ass in a minute. It's not going to work. Pete took a gamble on him. Hey, probably talked to him, said, we want to run spread offense. We're going to get a guy in here that moves around. If I were to bet, you're going to be looking at a mobile guy to go in there. You're not going to be looking at a guy that's going to be kind of like a drop back guy. He's going to have some, he's going to have to look like Jaden Daniels, somebody like Josh Allen that moves around like that. And I saw Yale say that Sam Darnold kind of has some of those qualities, but think of the quarterbacks that have had success with Pete. When he was in the NFL, he had success with guys that moved around in the pocket. In college, he had success with guys that were stationary guys like Matt Leinart. But let's be candid here. Pete Carroll has never developed a quarterback in his entire coaching career. I mean, Russell Wilson was a product of Marshawn Lynch. And when Lynch went away, he never did anything after that, really ever. He was good. He was 9-7 in the postseason. After Marshawn Lynch left, Pete's going to build the offense around running the football. The Raiders are going to become a running attack. And they're going to get the ball to Bowers. The Raiders are going to look like the Eagles and the Chiefs. Multiple quarterback who can move around, a great tight end. They don't have Devontae Adams anymore. That thing's going to look like the Eagles and the Chiefs. That's exactly what it's going to look like. Yeah, Xander just Sweat just dropped his age and hired Rosenhaus. Yeah. That's why I say Josh Sweat will be a Miami Dolphin when free agency starts. He'll replace Calais Campbell, who's retiring. That's what it'll take. I could see him at Milton Williams also being there, but we'll see what happens. I mean, depending on what Kellen does, and if Clint takes that job with the Saints as a D coordinator. So, yeah, that's something to keep an eye on here. All right. I wrote down my top 40. These are my top 40 players ranked for Super Bowl 59. Okay? Since I did research, Mahomes versus Fangio's 0-8. No, you mean Mahomes versus Vic is 8-0. Yeah. Okay? Yeah. Mahomes is 8-0 versus Vic Fangio, head coach or coordinator. Yeah. So is Andy, too. Big Rhythm. Hey, Sills, can you get the message to the defensive assistants, your friends, with to get DBs and O-line to wear white gloves? Bradbury hold was black glove on white jersey. Can't do that. If they're wearing white jerseys, you can't wear white gloves. It's against NFL rules. You can't do that. It's got to be either that or part of your color sequence, yellow or orange. You can't wear white gloves with white jerseys. Okay? It's part of the uniform code. That's why it's like that. Yeah. Hey, don't you think offensive linemen would be doing that? Okay? White jerseys, white gloves, right? That's how they call holding. Wearing green. You're wearing green. Chiefs are wearing white gloves. You'll have to wear black gloves. You're not going to wear white gloves on white jerseys. Don't you get why the Chiefs wore white? Okay? They don't want you wearing white gloves. Oh, well, you don't think that's gamesmanship? You probably thought it was just because they were, what, superstitious? That used to be a cool a gimmick. If whatever jersey you had, you would wear the color. Like if you had red jerseys, you would wear red gloves. They changed that shit. Yeah, they'll wear green or black gloves in that game with white jerseys. Okay? Oh, this is a great one here. Seals, did you ever put spam spray on your jersey and sticker tape to help you out? Absolutely. This is what you do. This is what the defensive, this is what the equipment managers do. For this Sunday game, you get reverse tape. You tape your jersey. Now, this is my time, so it may be different. What you do is you get reverse tape. You put your reverse tape on your shoulder pads. Then you put your jersey on over it. Guy in the back pats it down so the offensive lineman can't grab it. And you get an extra small jersey. Then what you do is you get silicone. You spray silicone all over your jerseys. Spray it all over. And you let it dry. Okay? So you can't get the grip on here. And under here, you make sure that you tie your jersey, tuck it in, tie it, tuck it in, so that they can't get anywhere to get you. Then you get Vaseline, and you put Vaseline all here because offensive linemen like to grab you there. I can't tell you how many black and blue marks you get on your chest from guys holding you. So you get Vaseline, you put it here on your side and on your back, on your shoulder pads. And you put all of that on. Then you get more Vaseline, one good rub, put it down, and you do this the night before, you let it dry. You're ready to rock for the game next day. Pam is good too. Yep. Pam's good. Olive oil, motor oil, Vaseline, all of that. Anything that you can't. The key is, though, you can't touch it because then your hands, when you reach out and grab, okay, your gloves got it all over you. So you got to be careful. Have you heard anything on Slowick maybe getting the Eagle interview? Probably so. I think Frank, but no, he'll probably get a call. Okay? Oh, absolutely. I learned this from veteran guys who told me, Curly Culp and a guy named Mike Stensford. They showed me everything I needed to do. And if the guy's holding you and he puts his hand down on the ground, step on his hands. How many times back in the day when we wore spikes, you stepped on an offensive lineman's hands? That's what starts a lot of fights. Because you know what an old lineman will do? If you're standing around a pile and they hadn't blown a whistle, he'll blow you up. You see some of those roughing penalties? That guy's not going to stop. And Eagle guys are notorious for it. They're not going to stop. They're going to blow you up if you're standing around a pile. They're going to earhole you. So when you get somebody doing that shit, when he's getting up off the ground, step on his hands. See how much he wants to hold you. He'll jump up, man. He'll call you every name in the book. That's why some of that shit, and you see some of those fights and all that shit going on, because those guys are playing games inside. Here, I'll give you guys one last one here before we move on to my top 40. Okay, referee, see where Bednarik is behind me? Referee standing there, right? Offensive lineman. I'm the offensive lineman, guys in front of me. The referee standing there, right? He's standing right behind my shoulder. Offensive lineman will look over at that guy and see him here. Well, what hand am I going to hold you with? I'm going to take this hand. I'm going to grab you inside here. I'm going to yank you in here, and I'm going to show the ref this by punching you. Ref don't see holding because he's positioned there. Defensive lineman will go to the referee over here and go, hey, fucking guy's holding me. He'll get and turn around, and he'll come on the other side. And what do? You'll turn around and you'll show this hand, or you'll show this hand, and you'll hold here. So those guys are playing games with the refs. Remember, the ref can only stand in so many different angles to see holding. Okay? So there's a game going on in the middle in there. And you'll look and see where the ref is standing. Hey, you think the quarterback doesn't know where the midfield judge is and they run those crossing routes? How many times do quarterbacks get called on picks? Because you were picked. Jerry Rice was notorious for using the ref to pick them. And they would do those crossing routes right in front or behind the referee. They changed that shit. Where that would be a penalty, an interference penalty. You can't do that any longer. But the 49ers used to run that crossing route right in front of the referees. And Rice, you're going to go make a hit. The ref's in the way. Rice is running right in front of him. Bill Walsh used to design plays with the ref in the midfield. Wait, you don't think that works? How many times do you see guys sometimes getting called for offensive linemen, especially in Philly, offensive linemen illegally downfield? Why? Because they're trying to get block and release to get up on the screen game or intermediate passing game. Those are all tools that both sides of the football uses. So it's way people think, well, hey, we're going to line up and we're going to have like Queensberry rules out here. We're going to fucking get out there and play on Sunday. That's not exactly how that works. That's not how that works. Okay? I mean, all kinds of ways. Linebackers. What a linebacker will do. The quarterback is, especially if he's an inexperienced quarterback. Even Peyton Manning. I've told you guys some of this. So this is what Jonathan Vilma told me he did to Peyton Manning. You know why the Saints always played the Colts well? They had a really good team, but here's what they would do. And here's what's his name? Williams. Greg Williams. That crazy-ass D coach. You know what he would do? Don't set the defense and go to your positions. Wait until 5 seconds before. Manning will set the line. He has to set the line. Manning's looking at pre-snap reads. He's going to look, and he's going to look for my target and my landmark. He's going to see the strong safety, or he's going to see the Mike or Will backer. He's going to know immediately, tied in on the seam or wide receiver in the slot, or wide receiver in a curl route or a wheel route. That's his pre-snaps. Before he even snaps the ball. What Vilma would do is, don't go to your alignment. Manning had to do this. Set. Can't move then when you go set. And by then, at 5 seconds, you can't change what? The blocking scheme. You can't set protection. It's too late. Clock will run out on you. Then you go to your positions. And it's how you confuse even the best, like Manning. Because you take away pre-snap. That's what I think Spagnuolo's going to do. Now, Hurts is not great at reading anyway. So what you got to do to Hurts, in my opinion, I think the thing you got to do is this. If you're Spags, let Devontae and Goddard beat me. I'm not letting AJ beat me. No way. I got two dudes to take away. Spagnuolo knows he's got to take away Barkley, and he's got to take away AJ. That's why Hurts, in my opinion, in the run game is essential on Sunday. It is essential, okay, that he gets going in the run game. Jalen, would it shock me if Jalen had a run of 35 yards in this game and a score? No. Will it shock me if Mahomes has 65 or more yards in this game? If Mahomes has 65 yards rushing, they're going to beat you. You add it on to what he does situationally with Andy and getting guys open and making critical plays and situational play calling. I mean, you're asking for trouble if you get him going on dual threat. Hurts in the run game scares me more than Hurts in the passing game if I'm Kansas City. I said this last week, and I'll say it again to you. I personally think Kansas City has arguably maybe one of the greatest Super Bowl post-salary cap coaching staffs I've ever seen. 4-time Super Bowl champion on defense as a coordinator. 3-time Super Bowl champion head coach play caller. He's been to 13 conference titles, Andy Reid, in the last 19 years. I don't know. I mean, it's like Belichick stuff. It's fucking crazy how good that is. Let's see here. Let me do one thing here. Guys, do me a favor. Hit the like button and give me a total where we are. I want to see if we can get to 400 here by the top of the program here. All right. I'm going to do my top 40 here. I'm going to do my top 40. Let's see if I got this right. Yes. Okay. So here's going to be my top 40 players in Super Bowl 59 here. Okay. I'm looking for this one guy here. Okay. Number 40. From the Kansas City Chiefs, Mike Pennell. Like him. Defensive tackle, Kansas City Chiefs, number 40. Number 39, free safety, Reed Blankenship. Number 38, from the Kansas City Chiefs, Hollywood Brown, wide receiver. Number 37, this is the Big Sills top 40. Chamari Connor, Kansas City, DB. At number 36, Michael Dana, edge rusher, Kansas City Chiefs. Number 35, from the Philadelphia Eagles, Cam Jurgens. Number 34, the Big Sills top 40, Isaiah Pacheco, Kansas City running back. Number 33, from the Philadelphia Eagles, Jordan Davis. Number 32, from the Kansas City Chiefs, boy, do I put him there. Jalen Watson, Kansas City Chiefs, number 32. Number 31, from the Eagles, Micaiah Becton. Number 30. Number 30, Drew Tranquil, linebacker, Kansas City. Hey, Sills, you forgot 35. Jahan Dotson. How you doing? Somebody averaging over 100 yards in 3 games versus the Chiefs. Okay. I'll remind myself of that come Super Bowl Sunday. Number 29, from the Eagles, Darius Slay. Number 28, from the Philadelphia Eagles, Cooper Duzon. Philly. Number 27, this is the Big Sills top 40 teams in Super Bowl 59 are ranking. Number 27, Nick Bolton, Kansas City. Number 26, Milton Williams, Eagles, Andrews. Number 25, from the Philadelphia Eagles, CJ Gardner-Johnson. Number 24, from Philly, Dallas Goedert. Number 23. Now we're starting to get up there. Number 23. From the Kansas City Chiefs, linebacker, Leo Chenal. Number 21. From the Kansas City Chiefs, Xavier Worthy. Here are the top 20 on the Big Sills top 40 best players in the Super Bowl. Number 20, from Philadelphia, Nolan Smith. Number 19, from the Kansas City Chiefs, George Karlaftis. Number 18, from Kansas City, Justin Reed. Number 17, Devontae Smith, Philadelphia Eagles. Number 16. Do I put him here? From Kansas City, Trey Smith. Number 15. From the Philadelphia Eagles, Jalen Hurts. Number 14, from Philly, Quinyon Mitchell. Number 13, from Kansas City, Joe Tooney, going for his 5th Super Bowl. Kind of crazy. Number 12, from Philly, Landon Dickerson. Number 11, Travis Kelce, tight end, KC. And here are your top 10 players in the Super Bowl. Number 10, A.J. Brown, Philly wide receiver. You guys are going off a resume instead of what he did this year. He was good. Great. I don't think so. Number 9, Jordan Mailata, Philly, LT. Number 8, Zach Bond, Philly linebacker. Number 7, cornerback, Kansas City, Trent McDuffie. Number 6, this is the Big Sills top 40 players in Super Bowl 49. Number 6, from the Eagles, Jalen Carter, defensive tackle. Number 5, right tackle Eagles, Lane Johnson. Number 4, center, Kansas City Chiefs, Creed Humphrey. Number 3, from the Chiefs, Chris Jones, DT, best in the league. Number 2 is Saquon Barkley, Philadelphia Eagles. And number 1 is Patrick Mahomes. There you have it. My top 40. Lane's still playing great ball. Carter and Lane, I could have switched on. McDuffie's had a lockdown. He's probably the best cover corner next to Surtain in the league. Bonds had the best linebacker season in the league. Mailata's graded out the best left tackle in football. Humphrey's the best center in the game. Jones is the best DT in the game. Barkley's the best running back in the game. Mahomes is the best quarterback in the game. I mean, every one of these top 10 guys, check it out. Mailata's graded the best left tackle in the sport. Bond was the best linebacker in football this year. McDuffie's the best cover corner in the NFL right now. Jalen Carter's the second best defensive tackle in the game. Lane Johnson's still one of the top 2 tackles in the game. Humphrey's the best center. Jones is the best tackle. Barkley's the best back. And Mahomes is the best quarterback. You let Bryce Huff off, I think. You made a mistake. Oh, yeah, I forgot. You know where I have him? I have him on the top 5 shithouse list. You know the one list you make when you're in the toilet? Yeah, what do we need for dinner tonight? I need some rice puff and stuff. And, everybody writes on shithouse paper when you're in the bathroom. Let me remind myself of that. Bryce Huff socks. Oh, yeah, you use shithouse paper. How you done? Yeah. Hey, the only list that Don Dotson is ever going to be on and Bryce Huff is going to be on the shithouse list. I use the shithouse paper. I don't. All right. Hey, my friends, do not forget our great friends here at BetUS here. Xander, I'm going to do 2 in a row here, if you don't mind. Our good friends at BetUS. I'm going to tag team it here with, then we're going to take a timeout with our friends at Morgan & Morgan here. But our great friends at BetUS, make sure during this football season, guys, you do me a favor and you check out our friends for the YouTube 150. That's right. We've teamed up with our friends at BetUS, and they have done a marvelous job. And in 7 days, all the prop bets, all the gambling you can get a chance to do will be there for you with the YouTube 150. And that's a sign-in bonus up to $2K. Your second and third are 125%. And if you're into crypto, you're sitting there at 200%. Go to betus.com.pa. That's betus.com.pa. Fastest payouts in the business. 24/7 personalized service, 365 days a year. Live wagering on all major games. Make sure you go to betus.com.pa. That's betus.com.pa. Absolutely great time for each and every single one of you. We're 7 days out from the Super Bowl. Also, we're so proud now. You see them down there at Morgan & Morgan. Big Sills has been friends for over 20 years with my friend John Morgan. And by the way, he's coming on the program. You guys are going to get a chance to meet John Morgan, a billionaire, and he's going to talk some sports with us on Wednesday. Love John. He's going to come on Wednesday at about 5:30. We're looking forward to that. And he can tell you how him and his wife, Ultima, have built this company up into what it is today. It is America's largest injury law firm in America, and they're there to serve you and your family. With over $20 billion recovered for families across America, that's exactly what Morgan & Morgan does. Their track record, it speaks for themselves. Told you about the story in Pennsylvania. A couple was offered $650,000 by an insurance company. No way. Morgan & Morgan went in there and got $26 million in recovery for the family. Or a guy in Florida who had $350K offered to him. Everybody thought that was going to be okay in the family. John Morgan was called, and Morgan & Morgan and the thousands of attorneys were called. They said, no way, man. They got him $12 million in recovery. This is exactly what their track record is. They're there for families to get what your family needs. Life is tough. Everyone knows it. The easiest decision you'll ever make is choosing Morgan & Morgan. If you're ever injured, please check out my friends at Morgan & Morgan. The fee is free unless they win. Simple as that. For more information, go to forthepeople.com/Big Sills or pound 529. That's, again, FOR, thepeople.com/Big Sills or pound 529. Do me a favor. You tell them Big Sills sent you.
This is Eric. When he got injured in a car accident, he called Morgan & Morgan. He not only gets a lawyer, he gets trial lawyers like Sam and Jessica who are in it to win it. He gets his own investigators with briefcases, leather ones. And if you ever have questions, our customer service folks keep things rolling. Injured? We're your army. Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm.
If you missed any of today's show on the JAKIB Media channel, listen to the podcast on your way home. Available on YouTube, Apple, and Spotify.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on Sports Grid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on Sports Grid.
Score and save in southeastern PA and Delaware with Colony Pools this football season, and let the experts close your pool with a custom Merlin safety cover in green for the birds. And if you join our Winter Watch team, we'll give you another 20% off, and Colony Pools will handle it all. Keep your tiles on your pool, not in your pool. Fly with Colony right now, birds fans. Visit flywithcolony.com.
I get scared sometimes.
Of a lot of things.
Joining in.
Decisions.
The dark.
The dark.
But I once heard someone say,
But as I always say,
it's okay to be afraid.
as long as you face the fear.
And keep moving forward.
Wherever you are in life, count on the name trusted in insurance for over 80 years. Independence Blue Cross.
Hi everybody, my name's Jason Lombardi. I'm an inspector at DryTech. At DryTech we offer 3 major services, the first one being basement waterproofing. The second service we offer is foundation and structural repairs. And then the third service that we offer is mold remediation. If you feel you are having a waterproofing issue, give DryTech a call or check us out online.
Heading down the shore, have a ball once more.
Here, imaginations run wild and time stands still. Because here, you can find the best of the Jersey Shore, all on one 5-mile island. So leave the old you behind and get lost in the woods.
Wild, wild, wildwood day.
Plan your stay in the Wildwoods today.
EAGLES, Eagles.
I just had a guy text me and go, Sills, you're pretty hard on the NBA. I'm like, the NBA should shut down Super Bowl week. You have no news. Well, see, Luka got traded. I'm like, no one cares. Oh, and for the record, you know why? Yeah, he was telling me about it. You know, people, I go, no, they don't. I go, and by the way, you know what company's going to start going after the Trump administration? Nike. For the tariffs. You know why? 97% of all Nike gear is made with slave labor in China. Do you think they want to have business back in America where most of those companies across the world use slave labor? That's why the prices are down, like Nike. Nike's the most un-American company you can possibly have in this country today. They tell you what kind of shitty human you are, and they use slave labor. 97% of all sportswear that Nike has is made in China by slaves. And then LeBron turns around and sells those shoes to inner city kids. Don't be a hypocrite to me. I know who you are. Okay? You think Nike's going to get every athlete on the planet to team up and tell you how shitty things are. Because you know why? Their shoes are made with slaves. Just telling you. So the NFL stays away from this. They don't want any of this. I don't give a shit. That's me too, man. I'm like, man, you know what? Whatever. He goes, I mean, right? No, Prince. It's not LeBron. It's all companies. I'm not talking about LeBron really per se. I'm talking about Nike. I'm talking about Adidas. All those companies. Absolutely. Oh, hey, it's not the athlete. I'm talking about those companies. That's right, Prince. It's the American way. I don't care how it's made. Just don't tell me it's made by somebody in America. Just make sure it's made by slaves. You want to know if the NBA is a thing. I'm like, the Luka Doncic trade, I don't care about. Hey, by the way, you should know Embiid is next. Okay? Embiid is next. I'd trade his ass too. Guy's missed 43% of his career. How in the world are you going to build anything around that? Tomorrow, we will have our friend Keith Byers on at 5:30. We're working also to get Ray Didinger on this week. He promised us after his play stopped that he would come on for us. So we'll do that. A lot of guys are on their way down to New Orleans right now. So we were really glad to find out that Gary Cobb is not heading out until Wednesday. I think John McMullen is also heading out on Wednesday. So we'll have full coverage here with John down in New Orleans. So we really look forward to that. Guys, thank you so much on this Super Bowl pre-Monday to 59. It's going to be a great storyline. The Myles Garrett thing is probably going to pick up some steam. More storylines are going to come out of Media Day. Please hit the like button. Big Z, thank you, man. Big Joe, thank you. 2 to 6 tomorrow, and we'll see you on the flip side.